back. It's 8:46, and this is a special Today food in honor of Mother's Day this Sunday. I am thrilled to welcome a very talented cook to our kitchen.
Oh, yes.
One I know well, my mom, Nancy Guthrie, and she is here to share one of her famous dinners: fried chicken, spoon bread, Kentucky Wonders or green beans, and red applesauce. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
You ready to cook?
I'm ready.
This is something I really remember you making.
Hang on, what was it? What is the dish?
One of her famous dinners: fried chicken, spoon bread, Kentucky Wonders or green beans, and red applesauce. Hi, Mom.
I still didn't get it. It's like I can't take it in. Fried applesauce? What? Kentucky Wonders? Well, what the fuck's that?
Here to share one of her famous dinners: fried chicken, spoon bread, Kentucky.
Fried chicken, spoon bread. What is that? Spoon bread. And then Kentucky
Wonders or green beans, and red.
Oh, Kentucky Wonders are green beans. Okay, good. Well, I love green beans. What's so wonderfully Kentucky about them? Are they spicy? I think that's usually the thing, isn't it? They're spicy. Okay.
Applesauce. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
You ready to cook?
I'm ready.
This is something I really remember you making all
Are you ready to be abducted? Is that what the... You ready to go? Cross the border?
during our growing up.
Oh, yes. But it was on
Get in the bag, Granny.
a special occasion.
Because it takes time.
Oh.
Okay, so those are Kentucky Wonders, right? I mean, they look a little overcooked. You ever heard of al dente Kentucky? Okay, I don't know about those. That looks stewed to fuck. Okay? And the chicken... I mean, you could make that look a little better, couldn't you? And why is the garnish under the fried chicken? Yeah, what about some flat leaf parsley? Should we use flat leaf parsley? Where are we going to put it? Well, why don't you hide it under the meat? Yeah, no, those green beans don't look like they've been cooking for long enough. Put them on for another hour, and then I guess that thing next to the chicken is a biscuit, as in biscuits and gravy, which I've never, or is it? No, that's the spoon bread, right? So that'd be some kind of cornbread that you have to make with a spoon, right? Okay, good.
It takes all day.
Okay. So this won't be one of those easy at-home recipes.
No.
Okay, tell me about what
It's
we have.
not very healthy either.
Okay, that's fine. Not
It takes all day. So she could have made this big meal, like, what, about 16 times since she's been missing.
healthy and not easy.
No.
Now,
Maybe that's why they kidnapped her. Hey, lady, I want you to cook this every day in Mexico for my whole family. I saw your daughter on the Today Show cooking the chicken and hiding the parsley, and I thought we need that to be brought south of the border. Your cooking is too damn good.
tell me about what's in our
Well,
ingredient
basically,
grid.
you want to start with your chicken.
Yeah.
And
Okay, start with your chicken. Yeah, don't start with beef or duck. Maybe duck would work. Any bird, but definitely not pheasant.
get a 3-pound cut up
Yeah.
chicken. Don't get one of those 5-pound roasters, or the meat's too tough. Then you have your cracker meat.
Oh, hang on. This is a top tip. This is a tip, a chicken tip from the West, everybody. Where chickens always live in fear of snakes and coyotes, right? They need ultra protection.
Easy.
No.
Now tell me about what's in our
Well,
ingredient
basically,
grid.
you want to start with your chicken.
Yeah.
And get a 3-pound cut up
Yeah.
chicken. Don't get one of those 5-pound.
What is the point of that salt and pepper shaker? I mean, could you get anything smaller? How many times are you going to use that before it needs to be refilled? 8? 16? Once for every day that she's been gone. And You'd have to put some more salt and pepper in those babies. What do we got here? Eggs, oil, corn flour, and then what is that? Breadcrumbs? Paprika, of course, salt, pepper, I guess buttermilk, and chicken. But what I want to hear about is her top tip, her chef's kiss top tip for the... maybe this should go in our Adelson cookbook. At the end, we could have a spin-off chapter for other cases. Granny's famous fried chicken with Kentucky Wonders.
Roasters are the meat's too tough. Then you have your cracker meal and your flour, which roasters are your chicken.
Yeah.
And you get a 3-pound cut up
Yeah.
chicken. Don't get one of those 5-pound roasters.
Get a 3-pound cut up chicken. So is that a whole chicken? I see 1 breast, 2 thighs, 2 legs. Where's the other breast, Granny? South of the border with you?
The meat's too tough. Then you have your cracker meal and your flour, which you're going to make.
But why? Why is the meat too tough on those 5-pound roasters? Does she mean a chicken that's already been cooked? Well, definitely don't get that. You're going to cook it. It's a cooking show.
Together buttermilk and eggs.
Okay.
And there's your oil.
I should mention the peanut gallery is downstairs ready to taste your chicken, so they'll be weighing in.
Delicious. We are already in heaven.
It's already great.
Oh,
They're
good.
already loving it. Okay, what's our first step?
So, well, you just want to mix your cracker meal in with your flour.
Okay.
And here you've got some salt, pepper, and a little paprika for flavor. So
Okay.
You want to do that? Just
Sure.
throw it right in there.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of mix it around like that.
All right, so that.
That was the
Cracker meal.
entire contents of the salt and pepper shakers in that little pinch.
Your flour.
Okay.
And here you've got some salt, pepper, and a little paprika for flavor. So
Okay.
You want to do that? Just
Sure.
throw it right in there.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of mix it around like that.
All right, so that's kind of our batter.
that's-
Then what?
Do you see the amount of flour? I mean, you're not going to taste one little bit of any of that seasoning at all. It's just not even going to be there. I mean, maybe the salt was enough because the salt is going to help the... What does it do? It helps the egg... I don't know. It does something. Sodium.
What's this over here?
Oh, that's your flour and cracker. Oh,
Okay.
these are the eggs, of
Yeah.
course, and this is buttermilk. So you want to
What's this over here? Nancy Guthrie says, and we literally just went through that entire bowl. The entire contents of that bowl was just discussed. Her head's not in the game. It's thinking about the new loft in New York, or hey, am I going to be able to use the private jet to get back? I want to use the private jet.
And we just kind of mix it around.
She goes through the entire bowl of everything that's in there, and then the next thing Savannah Guthrie says is, so what's in this?
Well, you just want to mix your cracker meal in with your flour.
Okay.
And here you've got some salt, pepper, and a little paprika for flavor.
Cracker meal? What is that, like ground up crackers? That's no. Don't use that. Breadcrumbs. Obviously.
Okay.
You want to do that? Just
Sure.
throw it right in there.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of mix it around like that.
All right, so that's kind of our batter.
That's-
Then what's
and
this
then-
over here?
Oh, that's your flour and cracker. Oh,
Okay.
these are the eggs, of
Yeah.
course, and this is buttermilk. So you want to add your buttermilk there.
Okay, I think maybe Savannah was talking about the bowl that they're about to move on to. But she was looking at the first bowl, so Nancy thought, because she's old, she was like, bowl? What bowl? Which bowl are we talking about now? Where am I? What are all these lights?
Okay.
And stir it up.
All
real
right.
good.
You're whisking your eggs, and then what happens? Do I put this in here?
No.
Oh, sorry, I had no idea. I mean, obviously, I didn't pay attention while she was
Obviously.
making this.
So
Okay.
basically what I like to do is take a piece of chicken. This is not stirred quite enough, but just you kind of dip it in there and then in there.
It's not stirred quite enough. There's an entire intact yolk. Yeah, I'd say you've got a bit more beating to do. This isn't stirred quite enough. You can tell from the entire egg that hasn't had its yolk broken.
Obviously, I didn't pay attention while she was making this.
So
Okay.
basically what I like to do is take a piece of chicken. This is not stirred quite enough, but just you kind of dip it in there, and then you dip it in here first, then in here, and then back.
Okay.
And then when it's all ready, you put it in your bag.
Okay, so you really coat it.
You really coat it, and that's just
What is this? Some method from the desert? What is she doing with that paper bag? And the whole thing about dipping, continual dipping like that, that's no good at all. That's no good at all. Let me think. What would I do? Expert. I'd know it in the moment. It's instinct. It's something in your heart. Boom.
that lovely brown, dark.
I wouldn't put it in a fucking brown paper bag, though. She's lost it. She's 84 already. This is not looking good for her time in being held. Maybe she's teaching them all to cook. That's going to be her escape, right? She'll cook something really good after being sold into slavery, and then people will be like, what is that? Can you teach me how to do that at home so I can show my wife? And all these people are like, getting involved, putting on aprons, putting down their weapons, their guns and everything. They just forget. And then she says, okay, you want to put it in an oven at 350 for about an hour. And then as they're all doing that, she's out the back door, building a big SOS sign out of rocks in the desert for the drones. She's got it up here. Imagine that. Imagine if she wasn't rescued by the FBI and just hashed a plan for the ultimate Guthrie escape. Crawled out of the desert, after having to suck the moisture out of a rock at dawn just for a little bit of hydration. The dew on the rocks. But she'd know that. All those years in the desert. Imagine what her dad would have been like. I mean, he'd have been like a real cowboy. When would she be born? 84 now, so what? 22, 60, 40, 42? So say her dad is what? 25 years older than that. You got 37, 1917 he would have been born. Wow. But he had a hat and boots and everything and could ride.
Golden color, and that's what you want. That's what you want. So then you take your chicken, this grease is
Well,
already...
wait, let's back up a minute. Why do we just shake it in the bag like
Well,
this?
it just gives it gets all over. See?
Okay.
This has been done already. So
All
see
right.
how that is?
Yeah.
So then you dip it into a...
Total fucking novelty. There's zero benefit to putting it in a bag. In fact, the absorbent nature of the bag is going to soak up some of the would-be batter. And you'll have less crispy. You want to put it on a plate, lady. A plate that's been dusted in flour so the surface on the bottom isn't going to stick. Roll it around a couple more times, maybe a little bit of a dusting on top, and then in the oil. Fuck the bag. You know what the bag is? It's just one of those old-timey recipes where you could tell your friends, hey, you know what the secret is? Brown paper bag. And they're all like backing away slowly. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with her. It's fucking new meds she's on. She's talking about putting chicken in a bag.
hot oil. I use Crisco. And see how it's sizzling?
Yes.
And when you want to make sure your grease is hot, you just do a dip of water like that and it'll bubble up.
It should bubble up a
There's
little bit.
thermometers on this.
God, I bet that fucking cameraman's not going to be happy to get that GoPro back, all on a nice little, what do you call that, special tripod thing there. It's going to get splattered in grease. I like the oil thermometer, though. That would come in handy. How does it stay up like that? It must have feet.
So we know it's hot.
Okay, you used vegetable oil.
I use Crisco, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Vegetable, but I like to add a little grease, a bacon grease, if you
Crisco.
have it.
All right.
That just gives it a little more flavor.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Adding a little bacon grease, that's sort of the trick, gives it that.
Well, it just gives it a little more flavor to
Okay.
it instead of just the plain. Yeah, good. So this is
I like that. Top tip, add a bit of bacon grease to your oil. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all, Nancy. Or goose fat. Oh. In fact, let's make some fucking roast potatoes right now with goose fat. Yeah. Well, any dripping fat, like always save that. That's great. Flavor.
the finished product.
Uh-huh.
And
Let me see.
how crispy it is?
It is. It looks delicious. So how long am I doing on each side?
Oh, okay. Well, it's probably, you just watch it. Now it's going to
Okay.
take a while. You don't want to turn it over and over. You just let it fry like
Yeah.
that. And then when you think it's brown,
Okay.
which it isn't, then
Okay.
you turn it over.
Okay.
Okay.
Gang downstairs. How does it taste?
Yeah, maybe if you finished beating the eggs, it would have cooked quicker.
Hey, Nancy,
is so amazing.
how many times in life did you get to say to Savannah, you just watch it? It's really...
It's a little revealing, isn't it? Is that what he wants to say? Did you get to say, like it's a privilege, like it's something that he's not, he doesn't get to say, but wants to, right? Why? Why? We don't know.
good.
Oh,
It's
good.
so
I'm so
good.
glad you like it.
And we have a whole array of sides that you like to do.
I kind of make this dinner all together, and it's just something that we used to do. So
Okay.
these apples, somebody said, well, these are fresh apples cut up.
Yeah.
And the trick to make them red is the little red hots.
Those little cinnamon
those little
candies.
cinnamon candies.
Yeah.
You stick them in there.
Okay.
Have you tried the apples downstairs?
Trying them Amazing. now.
Delicious.
I didn't know they were red
Okay,
hot.
let's have a look at the spread here. So what is that? That looks, well, it looks a little bland. I'd have done a salsa verde.
Like to do.
I kind of make this dinner all together.
Lime, cilantro. What else is in it? No guacamole. Fuck off. Not interested. Not interested in avocados generally.
It's just something that we used to do. So
Okay.
these apples.
Okay, so the beans overcooked to fuck, but maybe that's what makes them, what was it? Kentucky Wonders. Okay, I still don't know what this spoon bread is. I guess it's called a spoon bread because you have to get it out of the what do you call that? Tin, baking tin. You have to get it out of the tin with a serving spoon, right? So that's why it's called spoon bread. I don't know about that melted cheese on top. I guess that's melted cheese. That looks horrendous. The chicken, well, the one on the platter looks pretty good. And then we've got this tomato salsa thing, which basically just looks like a bunch of tomatoes that are crushed up and not even that crushed up. So I'm not sure what the point of that is. You could have had a nice salsa verde. And then lemon on the side. Is that authentic? I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a wedge of lemon on any plate ever in Kentucky, but maybe it was always under the meat, like the garnish. Where are we going to put this parsley? Hide it.
Apples. Somebody said, well, these are fresh apples cut up.
Yeah.
And the trick
apples.
to make them red is the little red hots.
Those little cinnamon
those little
candies.
cinnamon candies.
Yeah.
You stick them in there.
Okay.
Have you tried the apple?
Cinnamon candies, red hots in apples. Okay, I'm about to lose my mind. You don't cook with candy. You don't cook with candy. Do you? You don't put candy in applesauce.
Apples downstairs.
Trying them now.
Delicious.
I didn't know they were red hot candies. That's amazing.
Red hot
That is a
candies.
delicious treat.
And then
Yeah. Do you still have that paper bag? Because I want to fucking throw up.
Green beans are, you know, Dad always grew them and he called them Kentucky Wonders, but you want to get them fresh, you want to string them, it's something.
Fresh, and then cook them for 7 hours. It doesn't matter if they were fresh. They might have been fresh this morning.
Fun to do with the kids.
And tell me about the spoon bread, because that looks amazing.
The spoon bread is actually, when we moved to Arizona, I found this recipe and I thought it really complimented. So
They moved
this is
to
the
Arizona.
spoon bread,
Yeah.
and you just
Look at that, the one at the bottom, Stouse. That looks good.
spoon it out.
I love it. It has all that cheese on it. So, guys,
Yeah.
this is a real Kentucky recipe with just a touch
It's probably what her dad used for cooking on the road, on the trail when he worked for the Pony Express.
of Arizona, because you know my
Yes.
mom and dad both grew up in
Yes.
Kentucky.
We did.
So
We
good.
did.
It's
So
perfect
good.
comfort food. Spoon bread.
Really, it's perfect for today on a cold, kind of dreary day. Nancy,
So they both grew up in Kentucky. Okay, so he wasn't a desert man. He just moved out there for the mall walking.
tell us a story about when Savannah got caught shoplifting.
No, my gosh, we are out of time.
Where did we hear that?
Yeah, where did she hear that?
Shoplifting, so she's got a criminal record. Did you shoplift your mother?
Did you say something?
No, not me.
Matt, you must have sources deep inside the Guthrie family.
I made it up.
Yeah, mate. Just thinking, was this guy's head? I mean, look at the shoulder. The guy in the middle. Could that be the masked man?
Apparently, I hit a button.
Savannah's face. Oh my God.
It might have actually happened. But anyway, that's another story for another time, and the record was completely expunged. But you can find all these recipes at today.com/food. We've also
After I was famous and could pay $1 million to get my record expunged. Hope my mother's not been expunged.
posted a quick video tutorial for the fried chicken at facebook.com/todayfood. Mama, great job. Love you. Thank
Love you, honey.
We're back in a moment. This is
Okay.
Today on NBC. I thought you
Great job.
like, what?
Hopefully, Savannah Guthrie gets to say, Mama, great job, to her mother once Nancy makes her escape by showing her captors how to cook. We can only hope. Okay, well, I only saw this today. It's been up for a while. I only saw it today. You know what else I only saw today? Was the drive around. The fantastic drive around with fantastic former undersheriff, the man with only one thumb left, Rick Kastigar. But also, TMZ had a strange update today, didn't they? The fuck? Gotta go through the history. Welcome everybody in the chat. How you doing? Anybody seen Granny? It seems to be like basically absolutely certain that Nancy was taken to Mexico for some reason and is probably dead, unfortunately. And if that's the case, I mean, she could be in fucking Buenos Aires by now. I mean, driving. Apart from that bit between, what is it? Colombia and Panama or something. I don't know. But yeah, they're going to stop saying anything about... Where's the fucking history? They're going to stop saying anything about TMZ. They're going to stop saying anything about any letter that comes in now. Is this it? Okay, this one with Mr. Flex. Mr. Flex from TMZ says...
We have some developments in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case. First of all, the testing of that glove, the DNA testing in Florida, is complete. Now, that doesn't answer the questions about whose DNA is it and are they connected to this kidnapping.
It's complete and inconclusive. Shit, we should have sent it to Quantico. We'd have had it last week and we'd have had results. Okay, but there's more.
Because under that doesn't answer the questions about whose DNA is it and are they connected to this kidnapping. Because under federal law, the glove has to be tested in the state where the glove is found. That is the requirement that the FBI has before they can.
Okay, well that's great for being a national company that specializes in testing DNA for other states. Federal law says, this is interesting, I mean, it almost feels like certain things are highlighting the disadvantages of federal agencies not having jurisdiction over what are currently state matters. Like, oh, if only the federal government had more powers to come in to this investigation and take over and decide it goes to Quantico and get the results with their own fucking testers and just basically kick out the Pima County Sheriff's Department. If only they'd have had enough power to do that, maybe we could have saved Granny. And if that is the result out of this, would Savannah Guthrie, who I understand is left-wing, or I don't know. That's generally what I've heard. I really don't know her. Would she then become a supporter for more federal powers and just flip right over? I don't know.
Put it in the CODIS system. CODIS is Combined DNA Intake System. That has 27 million DNA profiles. And in order to check out the DNA in that system, in the CODIS system, the glove has to be tested in the state where it was found, and that is Arizona. That glove,
Why is that? So in order to put something into the CODIS system, the FBI's database for all the DNA that they've collected of criminals, as far as I understand, convicts, in order for them to agree to do that, the DNA has to be tested in the state that it was found. Why? I mean, it's not like a distance thing, because what if it was the next state? What if you were on the border of Arizona and the lab in New Mexico was closer than the lab way back into the state in Arizona? I mean, what's the logic? I don't know.
told is in Arizona.
He should tell us. Why?
Right now. This is called a PCR test. It's the most sophisticated DNA test. It's the gold standard. Usually takes just a day to get the results. We are told that in the next 24 hours, once that glove is tested and the results are in, that profile will go into the CODIS system. So that should be resolved within 24 hours and maybe sooner. Now, we are also told, and I think this is really interesting, that the glove that was tested is not the glove that the New York Post found. It is a different glove. So up to this point, everybody, and really us included, we assumed that was the glove. We are now told
I really think we just need to move past the glove. The glove is obviously nothing. All probability supports that it's nothing. Glove, 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 and now everybody's seeing gloves everywhere. I mean, nothing's going to come back about the glove. What are the chances that that's related to this? Why would it be? What, he threw out his gloves? And people say, well, strange things happen. Yeah, but percentage of likelihood, you know, it's nothing to do with it. And the letters to TMZ. That's the stupidest shit as well.
Told by people connected to this, it is not the glove, it is a different glove that authorities found 2 miles from Nancy's house. Now, something else that we have learned. There are stories out there that gun shops have been given around 40 names of people that the FBI wanted to check to see if people bought a certain type of gun, namely the gun that was in the holster of the presumed kidnapper. We told you this is a semi-automatic handgun. So what we found out is that they have already checked out the holster to see who has bought a similar holster in that area. And the names that were given to the gun shops are people who actually bought that type of holster. And it's not like those people are all people of interest, but what they want to...
So he's saying 40 people bought that stupid crotch holster recently from Walmart, and now they're going to check those names. They're going to all the gun shops. Have you seen anybody who bought this? And they're all laughing him out the door. It's like, who would buy that? We wouldn't serve anyone that would buy that. We wouldn't sell him a gun. We'd tell him to come back with a real holster.
What you find is, did somebody both buy a holster like that and buy a gun like that? And then all of a sudden, they're going to be real interested in that person. So that is why the FBI is checking out gun shops in that area. Final thing I want to say is that the man who has been sending us emails demanding to know, demanding money in return for information leading to the identity of the kidnapper and the location of Nancy Guthrie. We have received now numerous letters from this person. We are not going to talk about this person anymore because if I tell you that he sent us another letter but didn't give us the information, and I keep telling you he sent us another letter and another letter, then suddenly when I stop, everybody's going to figure out, oh, he must have finally given the information.
Yeah, I wish you didn't even start in the beginning. I mean, it feels like you've really wanted to inject yourself into this investigation with these letters and possibly muddying the investigation by giving them credibility. What do you mean he wanted a Bitcoin? It's probably one of his own guys. They're like, yeah, come up with something. Let's take advantage of the Guthrie thing, okay? Big news. What if somebody started sending us ransom notes for Bitcoin? And that's the other thing. What is Bitcoin used for mostly? Drugs. And part of the reason that that's possible is because of the certain degree of anonymity that Bitcoin transactions provide, right? Illegal activity, untaxable activity. Don't think any government's going to like the sound of that, right? So, I don't know. We'll see how this case plays out. But if Bitcoin starts playing any more of a role in this, expect the lawmakers to to say, well, you know, we need more control on Bitcoin. It's the Guthrie inquiry. We need to have an independent Guthrie inquiry and a plan to not allow Bitcoin anymore.
Information, and that could screw up the investigation because that information is going to go immediately to the FBI, and then they're going to do their thing. So, by definition, if we keep saying we got...
Well, you better send it to Sheriff Nanos as well, in case he gets upset.
got another one, we got another one, we got another one, and all of a sudden we say we're not going to talk, you're going to figure out that means he just gave it up, and it could then tip off the kidnapper. So we're not going to say anything more unless and until we get that information and pass it on to the FBI, and at some point then we will let you know. And also, that creates a public record for the person who would give us this information, that it could lead to the kidnapper and therefore entitle them to the reward. So radio silence on that front, but there is movement. And, you know, I will say one other thing, that I spoke to a law enforcement source.
Do you think it's going to be radio silence on that front? Because I think he's going to come back tomorrow and say, we got another letter or a text. It's a WhatsApp message, so I can say.
Today, who said that this is gumshoe detective work right now, that they are just chasing.
Okay. So this is gumshoe detective work. Sounds like one of Nancy Guthrie's home-cooked dishes, doesn't it? Gumshoe pie. Did you try the gumshoe bread? Yeah, just take a spoon. Just take a spoonful. The gumshoe bread. So what is it? What did he say? A gumshoe investigation. What is it? Gumshoe detective work. What is that? Do tell. I gotta go back.
That it could lead to the kidnapper and therefore entitle them to the reward. So radio silence on that front, but there is movement. And, you know, I will say one other thing, that I spoke to a law enforcement source today who said that this is gumshoe detective work right now, that they are just chasing down every possible lead.
And I said to him, could you translate that out of Arizonan, please? We don't know what that is. We're up in the Northeast. We speak English. This is gumshoe detective work down here, TMZ.
They can to try and find the kidnapper and Nancy Guthrie. But right now, they don't have a straight line to a suspect or even person of interest. But when this DNA profile...
South. I think just head south in any direction. Or no, hang on. Head south from any point in Arizona and you'll be heading in the right direction, I think. Okay, that's all he's got to say. But, I mean, forgive me, because the video that we're about to watch now with fantastic Rick Kastigar is, well, it's like 5 days old. It's 5 days old. But I only saw it today. Somehow it slipped me by. So I want to watch it again because it's fantastic and he's so great. It's with Brian. Brian's in the desert. Oh, hang on. Did he?
Is done. Maybe they will. And when this gun is possibly located where somebody purchased it and matches the holster, that could be a hot lead. But for now, it is gumshoe detective work.
Well, you didn't tell us what that means. Can we look it up? What is gumshoe detective work? Gumshoe detective work refers to the gritty, often old-fashioned methods of private investigators who specialize in surveillance, questioning, and finding clues to solve the cases. Like Sherlock Holmes. Well, He'd be great on this, wouldn't he? Every investigator should be like channeling Sherlock Holmes right now. Originating from early 20th century slang for rubber-soled shoes that allowed for silent, sneaky movement. That's so funny, because I just thought today that the word sneakers is because they allow you to sneak around. Right? Because they're quieter, because they're rubber-soled. I realized that today after many, many years, multiple decades, not realizing that at all. And now I'm reading it here in this definition. Seems like originating from early 20th century slang for rubber-soled shoes that allowed for silent, sneaky movement. A gumshoe is defined by their dogged, persistent, and hands-on approach to uncovering hidden truths. Well, that's just any investigation, isn't it? I mean, I don't see what's different. So check out Brian in the desert.
Hey guys, thanks so much
This
for
is
checking
very
out my
good.
show. I really, really appreciate it. Please click
That's good. That's good.
think when you look back at those pictures of the suspect, what he was wearing, the mask, the backpack, the gloves, all that, are they looking to see if something was maybe thrown out of a car window? Because we know today the search is specifically directed along roadways. So that's the latest from the FBI. Pima County Sheriff's Office says that there will be no updates today, no briefings unless there's a development, which kind of surprised me in light of what happened last night.
No briefings. Yeah, okay, like I said, this is several days old. This is like 5 days old, but it's where Fantastic Rick, no, is it Rick? Well, if it's not, it is now. Rick Kastigar is driving Brian around the desert and explaining all the different cacti, naming them, telling him the name in English and Spanish. It's like the whole thing plays out some kind of strange tour.
You guys remember they had that person detained who has since been let go. I raced out an hour away from Tucson, very, very close to the Mexico border. I went like, I shouldn't say this, but I was going like 100 miles an hour trying to get there when I got the tip that they had this person detained. There was a federal search warrant that was being executed at the house. The family members of the guy were like,
There's something quite funny about imagining Brian Enton speeding through the desert at 110 in what, a rented Prius? No. What would it be? What would it be? A Chevy? No, he's probably rented an SUV, hasn't he? A little one. A Japanese one. Is Toyota too much? Probably like a little RAV4. Bet that's what he's got.
there's no way he's involved in Nancy Guthrie. We don't know about the case. He wasn't out of town last weekend. He doesn't know anything about Bitcoin. And I talked to them, and come to find out a few hours later, he was released. He was detained and then released, and it appears he has nothing to do with the case, although we'll have to see. I mean, they must have had something in that search warrant to be able to go search the house and detain him. So I'll stay on top of that, try to figure out how all of that sorts out today. But again, I was hoping there'd be some kind of press brief.
Great opportunity for the law enforcement as well to get the cell phone of anybody that they've been kind of like watching for a while, waiting for them to slip up. It's like, hey, guess what? You're detained. You got Granny in here? Give us your cell phone. We've got a federal warrant. Yeah. Okay, we'll let you go, but we're keeping the information and your DNA forever. No better time for it, right? Harvest time.
Briefing from the sheriff, and that doesn't appear like it's going to happen. I want to go to Kurt.
There. Was that Brian Enton's little rental there? I can imagine that.
How all of that sorts out today, but again, I was hoping there'd be some kind of press briefing from the sheriff, and that doesn't appear like it's going to happen.
There. What is that? A Chevy something? I don't know.
I want to go to Kurt Dabb, who is was a longtime homicide detective here in Pima County, to help me break down these latest developments, especially what happened last night with this man being detained, and sort of what he thinks about where things are going to go.
With Detective Dabb, I want to know if he had that beard when he was on the job. Because he's retired now, isn't he? It makes sense. He's probably bought a Harley Davidson. Had to grow a little long beard with no mustache, so everyone would know that he rides a bike.
From here. What do you make?
And plays the banjo. Definitely a banjo player. Am I wrong? Poll. Time for a poll and a goal. Support the channel on buymeacoffee.com/truecrimemetrics or PayPal. Either one. Either one. What were we going to do? The fantastic poll. What was it? Does Detective Dabb play the banjo? Yes. Expert standard. Yes. But he's no good. No. More of a wind instrument man. No, not musical at all. Please vote in the poll and support the channel with our fantastic goal.
What happened last night? I mean, we raced down to, near the Mexico border. They had him detained, and then now he walked out. What do you think happened there?
I don't know what leads specifically led them, to that individual. Extremely grateful for the technology that, the FBI has to recover some video, and I'm hoping that they have other video that they're holding back. But yeah, it was a complete surprise to me. I saw the detention last night. I went to bed and woke up this morning and praying, that it was the suspect, and then, that individual was released. So what, often happens in homicide investigations, you have to follow leads as they come in. Earlier in our other interview, I spoke about you have to start working that circle outwards, right? And I mentioned Uber drivers, delivery drivers. So I'm guessing that's what that individual was. I listened to his interview. He may or may not have delivered a package in that area. So it's good to see that they're following up on the investigation, on the leads. And with a situation like this, you know that the bad guy was armed because you saw it on the camera. So we, in law enforcement, we form.
I said biker, but now looking at his sweater and his frame, I'm thinking cyclist. Like that black guy in the Thelma and Louise, who finds the cop in his own trunk. The keys are over there.
But they have to take precautions. So it didn't surprise me the amount of individuals and the type of units that they use for this detention. But that's what happens. You know, leads are going to pan out and they're not going to pan out. So you have to suss everyone out.
In your experience, you know, they did a search warrant at the house. They had him detained. They got him at a traffic stop. They took him back to headquarters. Would that have indicated that they thought they had something significant? I mean, you don't just do that to every other Uber driver, right?
Yeah, no, you're not just gonna, you know, detain somebody and, you know, transport them back somewhere. But again, they were following up on a lead, and I think we can extrapolate from, you know, what's been going on that he was a delivery driver. He may or may not have been in that area. I'm assuming he probably was. They're just not, I used to tell bad guys this all the time. Look, I didn't just pick your name out of a phone book randomly, right? So he was a delivery driver, was in the
You see, that's Arizona too.
neighborhood, and they were following up on the lead on a potentially armed and dangerous individual.
What's your sense on where things stand now? Because I don't know, you know, one of my buddies in the FBI was saying we don't ever, and he's not involved in this case, but he was saying we don't like to release
One of my buddies in the FBI.
photos. Like, if the FBI is releasing photos, it means that they actually need help.
Yeah. And it's the same way with the sheriff's department. You know, if we're tracking, you know, a suspect, you can look at it either way, right? You can put, if you have a suspect and you have a photograph, you're more than likely going to have eyes on that individual, meaning you're going to be surveilling him. And a lot of times they'll release something in the media to garner an action out of the individual that they're looking for. Whether or not that was the case last night, I'm not sure. But, you know, that's what it is.
Do you think, because he was pulled over not far from where he lived,
Okay.
I found out when I was out there, do you think that means that he was under surveillance? Like, what do you think they had eyes on him before this, and then something happened where they decided, let's get him?
I'm assuming so, yes. Because just because you have a named individual that you're looking into, and again, you know, this person at that time was an investigative lead. So you can't just, out of the blue, decide to go drive somewhere and hope that the individual is going to be where you think they're going to be. So I would assume that they had some type of surveillance. I understand the FBI brought in a bunch more people yesterday or the day before. You know, maybe it was FBI information that they were acting on, contacted the sheriff's department, said, hey, you know, let's roll. I don't know if that's what the case was, but it possibly could be.
Do you think that there could be other people under surveillance right now? What does your gut tell you?
I would hope so, but that's, you know, just my guess. Like, everybody has theories about what's going on, and theories are like, you know, everyone has one. So your theory is as good as mine.
You know what he was going to say there, right? He was going to say, everyone has a theory. You know, theories are like assholes. Everyone has one. I mean, that is exactly what he was going to say. But he decided to back off. Theories are like, you know, everyone has one. That's not for TV, man. That's not for Brian Enton's show. His mother watches this show, okay? Keep it for your biker buddies, thug.
That there could be other people under surveillance right now? What does your gut tell you?
I would hope so, but that's, you know, just my guess. Like, everybody has theories about what's going on, and theories are like, you know, everyone has one. So your theory is as good as mine.
Brian Enton's just nodding along. Yeah, oh, good save, man. Yeah, my mom's watching. Don't say that on TV. One more time. I love that. Watch Brian nod along when he omits the expletive.
Think that there could be other people under surveillance right now? What does your gut tell you?
I would hope so.
My gut tells me about my asshole and everyone else's, and that it's like theories.
But that's, you know, just my guess. Like, everybody has theories about what's going on, and theories are like, you know, everyone has one. So your theory is as good as mine, and I'm just hoping.
Which brings it back to my question. There's no media fucking camp in this shop, but where are all those people shitting? What do we say? Hashtag. Bag it up, take it out.
That, you know,
Respect the Guthrie neighbors.
I'm hoping they have information that they haven't released yet that they're utilizing to further the investigation, whether it's surveillance, whether it's like yesterday walking around, you know, picking up or doing an article search. That
Picking up what? Bagging it up. Bagging it all up. We're going to have to bring a special van in to sanitize the area.
what they were doing. They were looking for an article of something that maybe the kidnapper had discarded. So
we were told last night out there that the sheriff had been there.
Yeah, we were looking for an article that the now everything he says, I'm thinking about people shitting or assholes. If the kidnapper, we were looking for an article that he might have discarded. That is a real polite way to say it, isn't it? Yeah, if he needed to just make a discard, if he needed to discard
he was gone by the time we got there.
Ben,
to the place where they Rio Rico, yeah,
okay.
Rio Rico. Is that significant? I mean,
no, and I'm sorry that I laughed, but when you're a detective working a case or you're an officer working a case, the last thing that you want is to have the sheriff show up at any case, and especially a homicide, because media is always involved, and we're trying to conduct an investigation that is done by the book, step by step. And when you have the sheriff, come out there, that causes a lot of duress on the detectives, and officers and deputies.
Well, I think that depends on the sheriff, doesn't it? I think a good sheriff, people would be happy to see. It's just that Sheriff Nanos is terrible and nobody likes him. Not one guy likes him.
That are investigating. So I think it's a little bit weird, but he's the sheriff. He can, show up wherever he wants.
the search that we saw yesterday near Annie's house, like all the FBI agents going in the yards, and then they just put out another release, the FBI did, that they're going to be searching along roadways in this area. What does that indicate? Or does it indicate anything?
That's what they're doing an article search. So what they're trying to prove or disprove, confirm or disprove, is that the individual may have discarded a pair of gloves as they're driving away, right? You can picture someone driving away and discarding clothing. I mean, that individual looked like to me, it looked like he had a couple of jackets on. It definitely appeared that he had more than one pair of latex gloves, which leads me to believe that he was extremely careful in concealing his DNA. So what they're doing with the article search is walking up and down the roadway, probably, 50 feet on either side of the roadway, just to see if there's anything in there. What struck me was that they were doing it back in Nancy and or Annie and Tommaso's neighborhood. It was like right after the video came out, then next thing you know, there's 25, 50 law enforcement officials doing an article search. So I was curious what prompted that.
It may be not a coincidence.
It might not be. But again, I had mentioned the brother-in-law before. Again, it's that inner circle. You have to prove or disprove. And as the sheriff said, the last press conference nearly a week ago, everybody is a...
Yeah, what the sheriff has said now is that they've been cleared. The family are cleared. But if it was them, we'll still arrest. So he said something like that. It was like, yeah, they've been totally cleared. But if they had anything to do with this, we're going to find out. Something not right about that statement, Sheriff Nanos. Just say no. Just say no, Nanos.
Suspect. So, I don't know. I don't know if they had any information to cause them to go back there.
Are you surprised we haven't seen the sheriff in
I'm surprised
a long
that
time,
I'm surprised there was not a press conference last night or this morning by the sheriff, because he said on Facebook or on the sheriff's webpage, if there are any significant activities, or we're not going to have a press conference so there's significant activity. Well, I think last night was a significant amount of activity.
Do you think that's an indication the FBI is in control?
Whether or not they're in control, I don't know. Is it an indicator of them being in control? You could say yes, but you could also say no, because realistically, that this is not an FBI case. You know, we don't have any proof that this alleged kidnapping crossed state lines, which would, in fact, turn it into a federal case. So as far as I know right now, the Sheriff's Department is running the investigation, but that...
Never mind state lines. Doesn't it make it federal if they're taken out of the country? You got to call Homeland.
Those three letters do hold some weight, so it's possible.
In your experience working cases, I mean, there were 11 days in. What does that mean? What does this window mean? Does it get more difficult? Is it not a good sign that it's been really almost 2 weeks?
Yeah, is it not a good sign that they've not been able to find her for 11 days? No, actually, that's a good sign. That's what you want. What you really want is 19 days. Because, you know, then you can find, like, so many gloves and send them to every state to be tested, even though that means that they can't be used in the CODIS database comparison.
Weeks now?
Yeah. Well, I was having a conversation yesterday about this very thing. You know, as the days progress, you're going to run out of leads.
Dude, you've been having a conversation every day about this very thing on every fucking channel that you can get on. You're a whore. You're a media whore with a beard.
Unless stuff keeps coming in. So with the release of that video, obviously it's going to generate leads for, you know, the next couple of days. And if they release something else, even further out. But
he's already put his dog on camera, hasn't he? I mean, how long is it going to be? Is it going to be day 20 that he breaks out the banjo? He's probably working on a song called Bring Grandma Home. He's just waiting for his jug blowing accompany the fellow who blows the jug. He's waiting for the fella who blows the jug before it's recorded in the studio, but he's got all the lyrics down and the changes, standard Arizona changes, cactus changes.
absent any new leads, look, the Sheriff's Department, you know, we have a county that's bigger than, you know, 3 or 4 states. You can't keep everybody focused on that investigation. So initially it was...
People keep going on about this. So this county, Pima County, is bigger than New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware. Maybe. And all of them put together. But hang on, how can Vermont not be? It's got to be Vermont as well. Vermont's the same exact shape as New Hampshire, just the other way around.
There's a lot of individuals involved from different units within the Sheriff's Department, different detective units, patrol units, a lot of people working overtime, but you can't do that in perpetuity. You have to shrink the amount of manpower, and that's going to be based...
People that are overtime hungry are like, yes! Double shift. Gonna get an extra $600 this week.
On the amount of leads. So once that manpower gets, you know, keeps shrinking and it's basically down to just the homicide unit, you know, that's when cases go cold.
Well, maybe with the FBI sending more people in, that'll help
Maybe.
sort of alleviate that.
Maybe. But again, it's not their case. It's not their investigation yet. They can't just come over, you know, come in like the movies and, you know, take over a case. They have to have jurisdiction. And as far as I know right now, they don't have any jurisdiction. I'm extremely grateful, and I'm sure the family is as well, and all of America, that the FBI is assisting with the technological aspects, because they're able to do things that we can't even fathom. So I hope that...
Fathom? We can't even fathom. When was the last time you used the word fathom? Yeah, the FBI can do things that we can't even fathom. Oh. Maybe that's the chorus to his banjo song.
That they're continuing with the videos. I would like to see more video. If they have a clearer picture, you know.
How do we do on that poll? So 30% say that, oh, we have a tie. Wow, this is the most divided poll we've ever done. Does Detective Dab play the banjo? 30% say yes to an expert standard. 30% say yes, but he's no good. 20% say no, more of a wind instrument man. And 20% say no, not musical at all. Now I'm thinking that he's a bike mechanic. And maybe it's not a banjo, maybe it's a cigar box guitar, right, that he makes himself with cigar boxes that he buys on eBay. It's filling the fucking garage at home. His wife is like, okay, are you sure you're going to use all these? Because I used to be able to park my car in here, and now it's full of your hobby. You've made one so far. Maybe if you stopped buying them until you used all the materials that you have. He's like, get out of here. There's a box of Chavez. What's a good fake name for a cigar? Chavez Golden. No, what are cigars called? I have no idea. It's a good name for a cigar. Names for cigars. Well, that's just types of cigar. We're not getting anywhere with this. We may never know the truth.
You know, put it out, because that's going to generate leads. Because once the leads stop coming in, the task force is going to shrink, and the case is going to go cold. So, by releasing more information is the only way to keep the case going.
And just lastly, Kash Patel said last night that they have...
To keep looking is the only way to continue the search. These people. I can't wait to see Rick, former Undersheriff Rick Kastigar, who's going to put Banjo Man to shame. Banjo Bicycle Mechanic Man to shame.
He used plural, like multiple people that they're looking at, which I guess would go back to what you said, that there's probably different avenues.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, you start in that inner circle. You start with the family.
Hey, buddy, they're called caminos out here. There's different caminos to follow, okay?
Start with any caregivers. Did they have any work done on the house? You know, the Uber driver, how many Uber drivers? So there's a lot of people that they can interview.
Yeah. I thought that the other day, like a taxi driver that was regular, because Nancy Guthrie's movements were regular. Sundays, you can imagine having a pretty regular schedule. So even if it was Uber, would it coincide with somebody who was starting their shift at that time that was always picking them up? They decided to start their shift on the one reliable call of the day. 12 o'clock Sunday, I'll be there, Nancy. And then he goes on and does his shift. That could happen. Even with an Uber taxi arrangement. But to be honest, I could imagine Nancy Guthrie having a standing appointment with a nice taxi company. Why not? Not a limo, but, you know, the executive cars. As a service, a car service. Maybe not.
I think they've done a pretty good job of canvassing the neighborhoods. If someone in the neighborhood would have seen something, I'm sure by now.
This is the thing about it being a random, though. I mean, the split is it for ransom, or is it for some, to spite the family in some way? And you got to think if it had started for ransom, because we haven't heard something that's confirmed or even has indicators to confirm that it's a legitimate ransom request. There's been no ransom request that we can say is in any way legitimate, and not just some opportunist. So in the scenario that somebody took intending to make a ransom, hold her for ransom, and then decided not to. Why? Because she's dead, and they can't do proof of life. He should probably have done what Israel Keys did and just sew her eyelids open with fishing line. It's pretty brutal. It's bad enough trying to sew, something normal.
They would have said something.
And one other thing I thought of, a lot of people have been asking me, they're like, are people scared in Tucson? Are people in the neighborhood scared? And it's been my kind of feeling that they're not, which is kind of interesting.
I don't think anybody's scared, up here. This is not something that occurs all the time. I don't think that there's any concern for the general public based on this one individual case. It appears that it's isolated. The idiot that was at the door walking up, he looked like a buffoon. I know previously, I said this is I think a professional deal, and it's
a buffoon. Look who's talking. You banjo bicycle mechanic buffoon. Yeah, I don't know. He just doesn't really looks like he wants to be on TV.
I don't think that there's any concern for the general public based on this one individual case. It appears that it's isolated. The idiot that was at the door walking up, he looked like a buffoon. I know previously, I said this is I think a professional.
He looked like a buffoon? Buddy, if you were sitting outside a supermarket, I'd give you $5 and tell you to spend it on food.
Deal, and it still may be, but that individual that walked up to the door and tried to cover the camera, he was completely unprepared, but he was extremely comfortable. He wasn't looking around, he was extremely comfortable being there, almost like he knew that there was nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's a good point. He wasn't darting around and looking behind a million times to see if anyone was driving by.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a normal home invasion where, guys, multiple individuals are coming to a door with guns and, kicking doors and battering rams or hammers or pry bars. He didn't have anything. What I would like to know is how he got inside the house. That's a huge key, huge question for me.
Anything else, Allison?
No, I'm just wanted to say, did you,
Well, so there's no forced entry then, if he doesn't know. So he either had a key or the door was left open by evil Tomasi, or what would the other option be? Nancy opened the door. And even if it was someone that she knew, I think the only person she would have even possibly opened the door to would be Rollo Tomasi. After if he came back in 2 minutes, 5 minutes and said, "Oh, I forgot my whatever." That'd be a reason to open the door, but I don't think Nancy Guthrie is accustomed to receiving house visits after 10:30 at night or whatever it was. Back door. So it probably looks like he had, the kidnapper, a key, right? Or Rollo left something open. It wouldn't even have to be the front door, would it? I mean, we know he went to the front door. We don't see him going in it. He could have gone to the front door to fuck with the camera and then go to the back door that he knew had been left open. Would you imagine that Nancy Guthrie would feel so safe in her home to routinely leave the back patio door open? I don't know. I'm pretty sure when you're 84, you're way more vulnerable than 50 or so, I think most 84-year-old women, wherever they live, have a major thing about locking everything. Probably.
From what you have been hearing, have you heard anything that last night's operation was mostly conducted by the FBI?
Yeah, I did hear some information from some contacts that I have that last night, was an FBI.
That's his best look. Yeah. I think you need to invest in a new tiny comb for that beard.
I garnered the information and set the movement into action, and utilizing the Sheriff's Department SWAT team and other agencies to help track that guy down. So again, not that the FBI has control, but if they come up with something, because they're working the technical aspect of it.
Yeah. Extremely comfortable buffoon. Yeah, don't put a suit on or anything. No. Smart casual. He shows up like this. You are not going on film. We want credible interviews.
They may have information and it's actionable and it needs to be worked on right now. So they may have said, hey, this is what we got. Let's go. And they mounted up the troops and rolled out.
Okay. Probably shows up high every day saying, showing people his medicinal marijuana card that he probably took off a suspect when he worked for the Pima County Sheriff's Department and now uses under his own name. It's medical. You want to hear me play the banjo? Wait till my jug blowing guy gets here. That makes it. And after the show, we can use the jug as a bong.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your time, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate Kurt for talking with me. I actually hear a helicopter right now, which is a...
Yeah, that's the sniffer-copter, by the way, Brian. That's with the big digital nose attached to the underside to smell out the old lady's heart.
Basically, the sheriff's office helicopter has been in this area a lot, searching. It's so sunny out today, by the way, and hot today. So it's tough conditions for these search.
Yeah. Don't tell me about the weather. I know this guy. Every time you see him, he's just like, good bit of weather we're having, huh? What about that weather, huh? Good bit of weather there. And you sort of he'll look up at the sun. A nice bit of weather. And you sort of feel compelled to also look up and go, yeah, it is. It's really awkward. Anytime someone talks to me about the weather, hey, did you see the weather? Hot and sunny again. Hot and sunny. Oh, yeah. Don't talk to me about the weather.
Crews out here in the desert, and there's a lot of them now. Again, I told you more FBI agents have been showing up. I also met up with Rick Kastigar. He is the former undersheriff here in Pima County. He was there for
the true boss.
40 plus.
The ultimate boss. I mean, give him just rip Sheriff Nano's star from his shirt pocket and slap it on Rick Kastigar's chest. Welcome back, Rick.
Plus years working for the Pima County Sheriff's Office, and he has been a great resource because he knows the area very, very well. He knows the landscape very, very well, and he has some interesting theories about why he believes Nancy Guthrie is still alive. He took me on a drive around this area near Nancy's house, so I wanted to, I think he's got a lot of good insight, so I wanted to introduce you guys to him.
Interestingly, Savannah began here in her career working for KVOA, the NBC affiliate here, and she was fresh out of college. She's an attorney as well.
KBLA, is that the same network that one of the ransom letters went to? The local network? Or was that a subsidiary of Fox? Was that something else? KDLA. Because if it was the same, could they have sent the letter to that network because Savannah used to work for them? I don't know. I feel like the other one had a different name.
Went to the U of A here.
So the first thing that we're obviously in Rick Kastigar's car here, and the first thing that I wanted to know was, is this the same Mercedes that took his thumb? And I was looking at the seats, and you see a little bit of the dashboard in a moment, and it's like, yeah, fucking could be a Mercedes SUV, but no. It's, you get a shot of the steering wheel, and I think it's an Acura.
And when she...
he totally went off Mercedes-Benz after he lost his $500,000 lawsuit. Actually, I think that still might be in flux, right? And I believe I have the same sunglasses as Rick Kastigar. Maybe, or maybe mine are different. They're maybe smaller. Yeah, I think mine are smaller. But he's a bigger guy, so it makes sense. But mine are tortoise shell. Tortoise shell.
She
like all the best fucking sunglasses, right? Tortoise shell all the way.
cut her teeth in Tucson, and she and I interacted dozens of times on stories that were going on involving the sheriff's department.
So you know Savannah.
Oh, sure.
So that must make this even more...
It makes it... I was so happy for her making it big, you know. The local kid makes it big. It was really nice to see that. Delighted for her. She's such a sweetheart and a good-hearted person, caring, deferential, compassionate in what she does. Just a neat lady. So, one of the things I see or saw that happened was this sheriff's department, which...
Wow, look at that! Look at that phone thing. So there's a clip, and it holds the phone. God, I gotta get me one of those. That looks great. What would you call that? Phone clip holder.
Has talent.
Looks like a really good one, though. I bet Brian Enton can afford the best, huh? I'll opt for the cheap knockoff. That'll probably fall off and bust my phone.
Talented people, but it's my opinion that once...
No, it's Infinity, right? What's the logo on the... Because we don't have either of those car brands in Europe. That's Infinity, right?
I think saw that happen was this sheriff's department, which has talented people.
Oh, hang on. Is an Infinity an Acura? What the fuck? What kind of car is that? Don't say Canyonero.
But it's my opinion that once they knew that this was not an individual who walked away and might have succumbed to the desert, once they knew this was an abduction or a kidnapping, the federal entity should have been called in And it's my opinion that the FBI should be charged with this investigation, and this sheriff's department should support.
I think that's usually what happens, right? He's saying as soon as this was identified as not being an old person that maybe banged their head and walked into the desert and died, that the FBI, and it was established to be a kidnapping and abduction, the FBI should have been called in, jurisdiction should have been handed. I think most local law enforcement are like over the moon that the FBI can be involved, right, with all their gear and their tech.
Coordinate itself to the FBI.
Tallahassee
The local
Police
elements
Department.
Are
Tallahassee Police Department for the Dan Markel. I mean, they were so happy to have the FBI. Pat Sanford was in there with General Isom. Well, I don't think it was straight away, but it wasn't long.
clearly an aspect that are needed, and the Sheriff's Department has that capability to provide that. But we don't have forensics like the FBI has. We don't have those who can look at personality types that might commit this kind of crime. And it should have been recognized initially that once this is labeled an abduction, get a task force together and bring on the FBI and ask them to take it over.
Why do you think that didn't happen?
Unfortunately, the sheriff, Chris Nanos, has an exorbitant ego, and he, in one case I can think of prior to this one, told the FBI he's the better investigator and he doesn't need their help. And that was a critical case that we needed their help with. This one in particular, they have far more resources than the Sheriff's Department has. You know, this county was established in 1865. It's a big county, and law enforcement has been an element to it for decades and decades. And it has a lot of experienced people and talented people, but not the resources that the federal agencies have. So it's...
Yeah, before the sheriff fired everybody, or they walked away because he would make them go and work on gnome duty. Remember the guy yesterday? The guy, yeah, listen, I'm working behind a desk, and basically I'm taking calls. Like, if somebody comes and steals your garden gnome, you call me, and I take the report. He's like one of their senior detectives. Yeah. So it might be a big county, but, you know, he was saying that most of the detectives have a year on the job. They're still on probation to see if they can cut it. Or maybe some of them had 3, but what was it? I don't know. It was something about they were detectives, but not homicide, and then he was saying, well, it's not a homicide.
Apparent that perhaps Nancy was abducted. It's apparent that she was likely injured in the process. It's apparent that somebody did it for a reason. We don't know. There seems to be the thought that there's money involved and Bitcoin, and, you know, I'm sitting back in my experiences of 46 years in law enforcement asking, well, why is it $6 million? Why isn't it $3 million or $10 million? And why is it labeled US dollars? What does that tell me? And I'm asking myself, where are they keeping, Nancy? The logistics involved in keeping a person safe, if in fact you want to turn that person over safe to get money, is complicated.
Do you think, though, that the ransom element could just be wrong? I mean, that they're moving on from that? Are you hearing anything? Because it seems like, based on Savannah's last video and some of the messaging from the FBI and the sheriff's office last night, that they may be following other leads now, something totally different.
Well, certainly, and they've gone back to the scene to look at the vegetation of the desert in and around the home. I would have hoped that was initially inspected in such detail that you look for footprints, you look for downtrodden areas in the desert. And as you can see, that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. Is this a kidnapping? I don't know. Why would they have her this length of time if in fact the family has decided to pay and they want her back? What has happened? Is there another nefarious intent here? Is somebody angry at the family for some reason? And we don't know that. I don't know that. I would be asking those questions.
It's a great point. And I mean, he should be the one giving daily updates to the media. You want the media.
Looking at the cameras that go in and out of this jurisdiction to the border of Mexico. You know, the first night, if she was taken, and presumably by a vehicle, where are the tire tracks? Did they head to the border with her and cross somewhere into Mexico?
Do you think they even looked for tire tracks? I mean, it just seemed so rushed in the beginning, and they opened everything back up.
I think the initial thinking was this is another elderly person who's wandered away, and that happens in the desert often. That type of a situation happens. And the resources that were...
That happens in the desert often? I mean, what a thing to do. What a terrible way to die. Just wander into the desert.
Called out initially, search and rescue folks, people on foot, investigators. The sheriff's department has a homicide team, and one of their ancillary responsibilities is to look for missing people and start delving into it. But it's clear to me that the evidence that they found at that house was indicative of an abduction and a crime. That was clear to me. And I'm not looking at the case. I don't know the specifics. So I think there's some flailing of arms, literally, going on, and an investigation that's unclear. Sadly, I know Chris Nanos, the sheriff, and his personality type, and his need to micromanage, and he stifles creativity because of the way he interacts with his talent. And that is not necessarily a positive thing when you have an investigation of this sort. You need resources, you need outside looks at this.
Is he still, do you think that the sheriff's office is still in charge? Do you know? Because it's kind of hard. On the outside, he's quieted down a lot, and the FBI seems like they are taking over some aspects.
Well, they're supporting, and I've heard the sheriff say that our partners, our federal partners, which infers that they're involved in this, it's my opinion they should be the lead. And
is it just an ego thing?
Yes, that is my opinion. It's an ego thing, and I have seen that play out with that personality, Chris Nanos, a number of times in my career, and it's not helpful. Sometimes you need to back up, reassess, and consider what other resources might be available and call on those.
Just imagine how pissed off somebody would have to make you for you to slam them this hard. Nationally. Internationally. I mean, this is... Do you think he's going to be removed? He's an elected sheriff, but, I mean, if a sheriff is caught drink driving, all right, well, that's actually breaking the law. But I think if you show that you're totally incompetent, the court can remove you. Or the public could call for a, what do you call it? A snap election, re-election, you know, recall. Recall the election, that's it. Recall the election and do it again. that should happen.
Is it true that the homicide team is inexperienced?
It is true. They're less experienced than previous homicide details, but a lot of folks have retired, myself included.
I mean, how inexperienced?
To my understanding, there's a number of them that have only been in their positions a couple of years, and that is not enough experience to deal with this type of a crime. To abduct an elderly person and demand money is I can't recall in 46 years of law enforcement service a case like that ever occurring, ever, and that's troubling. But who has the experience? And I think the federal agencies do, and they should have been called in earlier, in my opinion.
There's reports now that they're DNA swabbing, people who worked in Nancy's house, that kind of thing. Is that pretty typical?
Yes.
That doesn't mean that those people would be suspects, I don't think, right? I mean, it's just they're probably just trying to... Well, what do you think?
I believe that if it's being done now, it should have been done a long time ago. I'm sure that there are support individuals, that have come in, whether they have medical, nurse visits as an example. Those people need to be talked to. Landscapers need to be talked to. The pool keeper needs to be talked to. DNA pulled from all of those is important, because if you've got an unknown DNA, which perhaps they do, I don't know whether they do or don't, you need to exclude or look at a match.
Yeah, that would make sense. You mentioned how big the county is. I mean, until you're here, you don't really realize it, how vast it is, and there's it's tough terrain. And just for people at home who don't know, I mean, just describe it a little. And how big is it?
This county, Pima County, named after the Pima Indians, is 9,241 square miles. That is huge. There's a town 150 miles from where we are right now that's still within the county. The county has a direct border with Mexico, and that's miles and miles, tens and tens of miles long. The county is bigger than some states along the East Coast, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and it requires a special type of policing. One officer might have a need and could be 30 miles away, and that's not easy to get there quickly. So the topography, as you can see, we're heading into the Saguaro Monument, is another challenge. The desert is not necessarily, it's beautiful, but it's not always friendly. There are a number of risks out there with thorny bushes and cactus and poisonous animals.
Thorny bushes. Yeah, I'll be looking out for the snakes. Thank you.
Do hurt people that go out in it. So the search and rescue capability of the Sheriff's Department is pretty busy. They're always busy. They're always searching for something.
Do you know what happened with the plane? I've heard some reports that the plane didn't get up right away because of a beef with the sheriff and the pilot. Is that true?
Well, I don't know it to be true. I've heard the same thing. It's my understanding he dismissed the pilot that was going to fly the night that she was missing. It's my understanding that that same pilot contacted via a chain of command the sheriff and said, look, you have a need. We have aircraft available. Can I go? And he declined, is what I've been told. I don't know that to be true, but that sounds like what this sheriff would do.
Do people know that Nancy Guthrie, I mean, I'm trying to think about like why this may have happened, and obviously Nancy's daughter is Savannah and people know she has money, but do people in town in Tucson know that Nancy Guthrie lives here and where she lives? Is she known in that way to be Savannah's mom?
Yes, I think the vast majority of people who pay attention to what's going on in this community know that Savannah grew up here, went to school here, and her mother lives here. I think a lot of them know that. I don't know that they personally know Nancy, but certainly they know of Savannah and the success that she has had in her career, and she's brought a sense of pride to this community because we're all proud of what Savannah has done. And we want to band together and deal with this unusual situation and get Nancy back to the family.
Let's talk about the geography here.
Well, what you're looking at is really typical desert right now, and obviously everybody recognizes saguaro cactus, and we're going to see a lot more. But some of the other shrubbery around here, like these spiny things that are tall to my left, those are called ocotillo, and if you looked closely at them, they all have spines on them. There's mesquite brush here, palo verde trees, which actually the name is Spanish for a green tree. That's one of those right there. I don't know that you wanted a tour necessarily. People have heard about certain cactus that jump off at you and stick to you, and those are actually called jumping choyo, and I'll show you one when we get around.
I'm just thinking though, like, and I hope Nancy's alive somewhere. I mean, obviously,
we all,
you know, but when I look at this, there's a lot of places to hide something.
There is. The topography is extreme. We're at 3,000 feet in elevation, right where we're at right now. And there's a mountain in front of us that goes up to close to 7,000 feet. And there's a mountain to the north of us that goes almost 10,000 feet. And everything in between.
Behind that, there's a mountain that goes to 15,000 feet. And then way up north, you have Mount Helena. That's the tallest mountain in the country.
Between creates a topography that's a challenge. And as I was mentioning earlier,
because a kidnapper can hide behind a mountain. We're only at 1,000 feet. See that mountain over there? 10,000 feet. If they're behind that mountain, we won't be able to see.
Search and rescue team for the sheriff's department has
it's the topography. The county is high risk. Elevation.
Really difficult times in trying to locate people who come to this part of the country ill-prepared, without water, get lost, and
do people just vanish and you never find them?
Well, yes, that's happened. Typically they're found, but in many instances they're found deceased because they were ill-prepared. They didn't have enough water. In the summer, you could have 8% humidity and 115-degree temperature. That will kill you very quickly.
So do you
Wow. Arizona, great. Come and retire in Arizona. It's not just full of fucking evil animals that want you to die. The weather will kill you as well. And the mountain. I mean, fuck. Yeah, no, it's great. Hot and sunny every day. 300 days a year, hot and sunny. Got a great mall. Because they're all very white as well, aren't they, Arizona? Like, they don't go in the sun. They move for the sun and then stay indoors. I go from my home to the office and back. And then on weekends, we go to the mall and have Krispy Kreme in the desert.
You have I hate to say gut feeling, but based on, the people you know, and you obviously...
I like all of my restaurants to have a cactus theme. Maybe the menu is shaped like a cactus, and the dishes are called things like chicken cactus pie. Yeah, makes me remember. Makes me remember that I live in the desert and I must be prepared.
You still know a lot of people. You were at the sheriff's office for how long?
46 years.
46 years. What is your gut telling you right now?
My gut is telling me that she's still alive.
Really?
And that the people who are holding her are trying to manage the logistics to get what they want, which presumably is money, and then safely return her. That's my gut.
So you think it was a kidnap, like a legit kidnapping?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the most logical outcome for this case. But there are certainly other possibilities, and you have one could be she.
Yeah. Retired from the Postal Service. Moved to Arizona.
Was taken to spite some member of the family. We don't know that. But that certainly is an area that needs to be addressed and looked at.
But I just wonder why. I mean, it just seems like there'd be other people you could kidnap that would be easier, that are connected to more money than just this older woman who's needs medicine, can't walk very well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I think as I intimated, the logistics involved in keeping her now into week 2, just healthy and alive, is extremely difficult. And you know, who could do that, and where would you keep her? This particular case has gotten national, even international coverage, and I think Nancy's face is extremely easy to recognize. How do you take her to someplace if, in fact, you need to get care for her, or have her eat, or use the restroom?
Would it be easy to get her into Mexico?
Yes, it would. There are...
Yeah, especially if she was chopped up into tiny pieces. It'd also be easy to get her to a mine shaft. And then you wouldn't need to chop her up.
Heavily traveled border areas that you go down, and the United States Border Patrol pretty much gives you access without much question, and the Mexican authorities on the other side are typically, they won't question you. You just go in, and it's highly likely she could be in Mexico. It's my opinion that might be one of the places that would logically make some sense to deal with her until what they want, what they're demanding, is satisfied.
If she's alive, I mean, it would make a lot of sense to take her to Mexico. But if she died already, I mean, if they picked her up, what is it, 30 miles to the border? Within an hour, you're across the border. And then you've had 2 weeks to travel anywhere. I mean, highly likely that she'll never be found, I think. We should do a poll on that. So, stop licking the pillow, okay? Eat your cookies.
If you were still at the sheriff's office, I mean, what would you have done differently? Would you have taken help from more people early on? And how important is it in those first couple of days to do that?
It's critical in the first couple of days. And yes, I would have taken things differently in a different course. I would have called on a task force. And the whole idea is to collaborate with other people who may have other ideas and other input and other experiences in law enforcement that could come to the table to compile all of this as a strategy to try to deal with this. The longer this sheriff's department takes to try and resolve this, the more difficult it may become, because there are medical issues with her and the need for her to get that attention, medical attention. I would have called in the FBI very early on, and as we have now learned, this was considered to be an abduction, kidnapping initially. Well within the seems the first 24 hours, they were coming to that conclusion. And the sheriff was, for reasons I don't clearly understand, was withholding detail that came out later that could have come out sooner. And he could have enlisted the help of the resources I've mentioned earlier, like the FBI and their forensic capabilities, not just electronically, but certainly with the evidence that's at the scene. They could have helped with that. Could have helped expedite that.
Yeah, I was thinking about just motives. It's like money for these kinds of things, and based on other stories we've covered, money, sex, vengeance, vendetta. Do you think it could be like a vendetta or vengeance against someone else in the family that maybe doesn't?
Sex must be less likely than other situations.
Have anything to do with Savannah
She's too old.
Guthrie?
It could be. I mean, all of those situations or motives are certainly possible. A lot of people keep drawing to Savannah and her notoriety as being the impetus for this crime. That's not necessarily something you would want to solely focus on, because there are certainly other possibilities. Has someone in the family been or angered somebody else to cause them to do this? Those are things that need to be thoroughly vetted, and that's what police investigation is. Talk to the brother, talk to the sister, talk to any other siblings, caretakers, as we've discussed before.
Really appreciate Rick for taking the time to talk with me. I'm going to obviously
Love
be
Rick.
staying.
Love Rick. Remember to subscribe to True Crime Metrix, like the video, share the video, share all the video, and support the channel on buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix. We need to go forward in time. Guthrie Probe Puzzler.
Will everyone's a suspect because it was early on. They've had plenty of time to vet alibis and go back. I think it was a good time for them to say all of these people have been cleared.
Andrew McCabe, what, if anything, does that change in the investigation now? Or it could have been that they did this several days ago and just didn't tell us.
Yeah, John, I think that's likely. I think that what John said just now is absolutely right. This was probably an effort really meant to prop up the family, to give them a kind of a vote of confidence, to try to dissuade and shield them from some of this relentless criticism that some of the family members are getting online. Let's remember, they need to keep a productive, open, and trusting relationship with this family. They need the family to do things like we saw today with another video that came out from Savannah Guthrie today. So doing whatever they can to keep the family in a less horrible place is a big part of their job of managing this crisis right now.
Yeah, this video that we saw, the new Savannah Guthrie video, came out last night. Jonathan, where are they, do you think, in this investigation? I know that's a big question, but on a day-to-day basis, we seem to have a new focus. It's a new video, it's a new glove, it's this, it's that. But where does that leave things?
So, John, the way that I'd characterize the current state of the investigation is really unsolidified. What we have right now is, or more to the point, what we don't have is we don't have a person of interest, we don't have a suspect, and we really don't have a working motive behind why was Nancy Guthrie actually taken. What we do have is law enforcement, both at the federal and in local level.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. It just looks like some constant live nothing. We'll look at the sheriff on Fox today. He's in a burgundy shirt today. Has he been fired already? What are people saying on the poll? 67% say no, he'll stay in place. 25% say he will be removed, but he'll fight it, and 8% say no, he'll go on a revenge kick. They are saying that he holds a grudge. I believe
you don't believe it was a burglary gone wrong? Is that what you're saying?
I believe it was a kidnapping.
Yeah.
All new at 2.
Whatever Rick said. just play Rick's video and let me share his opinion. God, the Guthrie house is looking sadder every day. Look at that. It's all faded. No life.
Fox News going one-on-one with the Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos as the search for Nancy Guthrie intensifies and investigators zero in on key leads. Welcome to a brand new hour of America Reports. I'm John Roberts. Thank you for filling in this week.
You are most welcome, John. The bill will come later in the week, so look out for that in the mail. It's great to be with you.
The check will be in the mail.
No, thank you. I look forward to receiving it. I'm Jillian Turner in for Sandra today. So this interview now with all these breaking developments come as the sheriff has also been...
The check will be in the mail, yeah, but just don't fucking send me your toupee. And you better not seal the envelope with wig glue either, man. What was that? The check will be in the mail? Let's see it again. This is serious. Nancy Guthrie is missing, presumed
with
dead.
the Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos as the search for Nancy Guthrie intensifies and investigators zero in on key leads. Welcome to a brand new hour of America Reports. I'm John Roberts. Thank you for filling in this week.
You are most welcome, John. The bill will come later in the week, so look out for that in the mail. It's great to be with you.
The check will be in the mail.
No, thank you. I look forward to receiving it. I'm Jillian Turner in for Sandra today.
Might be a little sticky. If I touch my scalp and then the check, might be a little sticky.
So this interview now with all these breaking developments come as the sheriff has also been saying that the entire Guthrie family is cleared from this investigation. They are not suspects.
Yeah, but if we find out it was them, we'll get them. So he said something like that. They're cleared, but we're watching.
Also getting new details on investigators working directly with Walmart, trying to trace the exact items that the suspect was seen wearing on camera. Let's get straight to Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt now, who just sat down with the sheriff for this exclusive interview. Jonathan, lay it out for us. What did you learn?
A lot of breaking news out of this interview, Gillian and John. The sheriff had just come from the latest briefing on this investigation. And I asked him first of all about the glove that we've all heard about, the glove that on which they had found DNA, which was being tested and was going to then be entered into the FBI's CODIS system, which is the national tracking system for DNA that they might have from people who have committed crimes in the past. His answer to that: not good news for the investigation. Listen here to the sheriff.
The DNA on the glove that was found 2 miles away was submitted for CODIS, and I just heard that CODIS had no hits.
No hits on
Right.
the DNA found in the glove.
Correct.
So you are no closer to a suspect as a result of the DNA test, at least.
As a result of CODIS.
Now, remember also, we broke the news last Friday that they had tested also DNA that was found inside Nancy Guthrie's house that they believed was stranger DNA. Well, the sheriff also told us no CODIS hit on that DNA either. Then I talked to him about this reporting that has been out there, not repeated by us, that this was a burglary gone wrong. The sheriff said it was not. Listen again to the sheriff. You just said and your briefings, you believe it's a kidnapping.
I believe it was a kidnapping.
Targeted kidnapping.
Yes, I believe whoever did that knew what they were up to.
So do you believe
knew who they were after?
So we also talked to the sheriff about these reports of the FBI going to gun stores. They have indeed been going to gun stores, but there was a report out there that they had narrowed it down essentially to 40 suspects they were asking about and showing pictures of. Here's the sheriff's response to that. Tell me this if you can, Sheriff. Is everybody in Tucson still a suspect, or have you narrowed it down to, say, a few dozen people? We've heard, for instance, the FBI is asking about 40 people at gun stores.
That's not true.
Okay, so have you narrowed it down to a few dozen, or are we still...
We haven't narrowed it down to anything other than we have certain pieces of evidence that we're looking at to try to find this individual, whether it be DNA, whether it be that ring camera video, whether it be evidence at a Walmart that might lead us to somebody.
Couple of other important points from this wide-ranging interview, John and Gillian. I asked the sheriff if there are any indications at all that Nancy Guthrie may have been taken across the border into Mexico, just about 65 miles or so south of us here. He said no indications of that. He said he believes the FBI has been checking that, but no indications of that at this point. And I followed up with him on the news that he put out a statement about yesterday, the clearing the Guthrie family, their siblings and spouses. He said to me, 100% they are victims, not connected. So a lot of news, but the bad news in terms of the investigation, that DNA, neither the DNA in the house or the DNA on the glove coming back with a hit on the FBI's national database. I hate to use the phrase back to square one, John and Gillian, but if we are talking about the squares that have been moved forward, we're certainly in the low single digits in terms of this investigation. John and Gillian?
I mean, it's also got to be pretty disappointing, for lack of a better word, for the family watching this to hear him say...
Yeah, for lack of a better word. No, it's a good word. It's very disappointing, but thank you for bringing that to us. I imagine so.
They haven't narrowed down the search to anybody, meaning no suspect
very
right
disappointing.
Extraordinary, Gillian. When you talk to him, and you can feel the frustration in the sheriff. Obviously, he has come in for some criticism from some quarters, but I will say now, having got to know him a little bit over the last 16 days that we've been here, he is a man. Some mistakes have been made. That's not for me to say, but this is a man who has a lot of compassion for the Guthrie family, really wants, just like every single law enforcement official on the ground here, they want to solve this case, but clearly they are very frustrated and clearly they are struggling to find out where Nancy Guthrie is and who took her.
So, Jonathan, here's something that a lot of folks I talked to are trying to wrap their head around. If this was not a robbery gone bad, if it was a kidnapping, but this idea that the ransom notes was a dead end, and we're not hearing anything from kidnappers. I mean, the object of kidnapping is you get something for the person that you've kidnapped. So what's this all about?
Well, that's an open question, John, and a very good question. I asked the sheriff about the ransom notes, and he said that is mainly an investigative lead for the FBI. Clearly, the ransom notes have not been ruled inauthentic or entirely authentic at this point. But the sheriff was quite adamant, not a burglary. I did ask him about, was anything taken at all? He said he couldn't talk about that. I asked him again about the forced entry or no forced entry. He wouldn't talk about that. And he said quite plainly, there are things we are not going to tell you because they are so germane to this investigation that they could compromise this investigation if we tell you. And as we've said throughout, John, they have every right to keep whatever information they want from us. But clearly, yeah, it's a struggle. But equally clearly, the sheriff believes in his gut. And
Yeah, I'm sure they are, especially the FBI. I still want to know if that Nest's doorbell camera was recording audio of the abduction. Imagine if that was released. Get in the bag. Get in the bag, Granny.
Asked him his gut as a decades-long law enforcement officer what he thinks this is, and he said, I believe it is a kidnapping, not a burglary gone wrong.
All right, well, we'll see if we ever hear from the kidnappers. Jonathan Hunt for us with the latest. Jonathan, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and
click here to subscribe to True Crime Metrix YouTube page. Everybody subscribe to the channel. Why wouldn't you? We're here. You're here. You know who's not here? Granny. Anybody in Mexico? Anybody in the chat in Mexico today? Have you seen a granny? A abuelita? Call the FBI. $100,000 reward in Bitcoin. Support the channel on buymeacoffee.com. For Granny's safe return, /True Crime Metrix. And we need another update. A bold update. Something from the sheriff. Who's on the ground? What's Brian done today? Google could have more footage. Okay. Tell us about it, Brian.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I'm actually outside the Pima County Sheriff's Office right now. Just a little while ago, I wrapped up an interview with the sheriff. Got a lot of new information, some stuff about the cameras at Nancy's house. I knew that there were other Google Nest cameras, and I was wondering if they had the video yet from those.
Brian interviewed the sheriff today? Really? Let me see if... Is that in this video?
Just like they did.
Oh yeah. Okay. Great, good.
From the front, if the FBI was able to get it. He says no, that they're waiting on Google. He's going to explain that. Also new information about the DNA testing. There was no match with CODIS. It's interesting that the FBI is telling us that, by the way. What does that actually mean? Could there be something going on behind the scenes? I've got my retired FBI friend who's going to kind of explain all of that. And then there was some action at Nancy Guthrie's house today that I have video of, some of it a little perplexing. I'll get into all of it in this episode of Brian Entin Investigates. Hey guys, so I'm outside the Pima County Sheriff's Office, and again, I'm going to get to that interview with the sheriff in a second, but I wanted to give you all the latest updates from today. Some are pretty significant. First of all, when it comes to DNA, we learned that they put the DNA from the glove that was located about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. They put the DNA into the FBI CODIS database, which is the database where all of the criminals, their DNA is entered into it. It's a massive federal database. So the DNA was finally entered in the CODIS database, and it came back without a match, which is obviously not good news. It's not really what anyone was hoping to hear. And I've also learned that other DNA from this case, from the Nancy Guthrie investigation that was entered into the CODIS database, has come back negative for match. So at this point, no matches in CODIS, although I'm told there's still more DNA that they plan to enter into the database. We've also confirmed that they have started the IgG DNA process, which is the investigative genetic genealogy. And if that sounds familiar, that's because that is one of the big things that cracked the Brian Kohberger case in Idaho, the IgG. And that is essentially when they take the DNA that they have and they put it into these genetic genealogy databases, which is, and if you look back, I've done a couple of episodes on this. This is like when you do those tests at home to get your genealogy and find out who your relatives are and what your background is. They have access to some of those databases, and then they can try to figure out if they can find a match that way. It could be someone's second or third cousin or an aunt or uncle, and then they can try to back into who the suspect is that way. So we suspected they were going to use that technology, and now we've confirmed that they are officially trying the IgG method, although that takes more time. That could take weeks, that could take months. It's not like just traditional DNA comparisons. So we may not have an update on that front anytime soon. I was outside Nancy Guthrie's house for most of the day. There were a couple of interesting things that happened. First of all, there was a pickup truck and a Subaru that showed up, and the sheriff actually let them through onto the driveway. I saw at least one man, there were two men, but I saw one man get out. He had almost like a briefcase, went around the back of the house. They went inside the house, which is the first time I've seen anyone non-law enforcement go in the house that I can remember. I don't know who they were. Some people were speculating that maybe it was a locksmith. I don't know if it was someone that the family sent over to get something from inside, but they were inside for several minutes. And again, law enforcement let them in, and then they left. So that don't really have much of an explanation for that, but it was kind of interesting. There was also some detectives at Nancy Guthrie's neighbor's house, and they were inspecting what appeared to be like a ring camera there with some floodlights. The sheriff's office later confirmed that there were detectives in the area, but didn't say exactly what they were doing. I want to play for you my interview with Chris Nanos, the Pima County Sheriff. I was able to meet up with him today in his office. He did a lot of media interviews. We were only given 10 minutes. So, you know, I was only able to ask so many questions. So if you're wondering why I didn't get to more, they basically cut me off at the end. It started off with him telling me, it's kind of awkward for a second. He said, you know, you have questions for me and this was before the camera started rolling. You have questions for me and I have questions for you. And he kind of brought up some of my coverage and some of the people who I've interviewed who have had not such great things to say about him. And he was going to address some of those things at the end of the interview, but then we ran out of time because the person who was in charge, like the media sort of handler, was said, oh no, 10 minutes is up, you're done. So this is really all the time that I had. But I think what was most interesting is what he said. To me, what was most interesting is what he said about the Google Nest cameras, and they're still trying to get more video. So this is my interview with the sheriff. Thank you for doing this, Sheriff. Appreciate it very much. I know that you and the FBI were able to get those surveillance photos off the camera in the front of the house.
Yeah.
Any progress on the other cameras? Can you do the same thing?
Boy, I'm hopeful. Here's what happened there. So we, of course, that camera we don't have, right? It was taken, removed from the scene, but we knew it existed, and we asked, I think it's Google Nest, Google.
Why does this sheriff have to explain everything? Why does he have to explain everything? Like he's explaining the rules to a game that no one else wants to play. And he can tell that he's losing the audience. So he's like, no, you start by, everybody gets 7 tokens, okay? Everyone's like, yeah, okay, and then what? How long does it take?
Hey,
this is my interview with the sheriff. Thank you for doing this, Sheriff. Appreciate it very much. I know that you and the FBI were able to get those surveillance photos off the camera in the front of the house.
Yeah.
Any progress on the other cameras? Can you do the same thing?
Boy, I'm hopeful. Here's what happened there. So we, of course, that camera we don't have.
You get 7 tokens, okay? And you get 3 yellow tokens and 4 green. Everybody gets an equal amount at the beginning.
Have, right? It was taken, removed from the scene, but we knew it existed, and we asked, I think it's Google Nest, Google, hey, what can you do with this? And we gave them the other cameras and asked the same. And they said, well, there's not a subscription here. And it is hard because it overwrites itself, right? Every, I don't know how many hours, maybe it's every 36 or 72, whatever it is.
Yeah, 72 hours. So we knew we had 3 days, but we still acted like it was a dead lead. Yeah, we knew that they store everything for 72 hours, but on day 1 we crossed it off the list.
But you know what, Sheriff? We'll try. Thank you. Away they went. They came back with this. And I'm going to try to explain this as a simple man that I am would.
Yeah.
They explained it.
Listen, I'm going to try to explain this as a simple man that I am. You get 7 tokens. 3 yellow, 4 green. Everybody gets an equal share. That's how the game starts.
It's like peeling paint. You have images over images over images. And you want to get...
And you know what's even more fun? If we do it in teams. So everybody team up with a buddy.
To that 8th layer or the 6th layer. And you got to peel back very easily because you might destroy the layer you wanted. So they were able to do that. I said, oh, this is really, that piece of evidence. Oh, they kept it 10 days. No, we all sat here right in our command post with the FBI and went, this is really great stuff. We need this out there. So I don't know that it was here more than 2 hours, and it's only because we had to do some cutting of the way they sent it to us and prepare it to get out to the media, and had to check with Washington, all those things that the FBI had to do as well. And we got it out probably less than 2 hours. And it generated, in that first hour for us, just alone here at the department, almost 5,000 tips. So it's a great piece of evidence. So there's other cameras. Your question, will we get more? We've asked the Google, hey guys, can you do this? And they said the very same thing. Sheriff, we don't think we can get anything, but we'll try. And that's all we're hopeful.
And so as of now, it's still just the video from the front?
Yes.
Okay. Savannah Guthrie, Nancy's daughter, obviously very famous, loved around the country. Is this really random, or do you think someone may have had, like, you know, a grievance against Savannah? Have you been able to sort that out at all?
You know, well, yeah. Anything's possible, right? I mean, there was talk, well, this was a burglary gone bad.
Anything's possible, and we're hopeful, you know. Google said they probably can't do anything, but they'll try, and we're hoping.
This was that. Those things have never come out of this office because we recognize that anything is possible, and we'll allow that evidence to show us what it is. The time to ask that question, motive, is when we actually know who's done this. And so, yeah, I get the speculation, but yeah, for me, I just looked at it and said from day one that Nancy was removed from her home against.
Why is he dressed in a shirt that makes it look like he's, I don't know, a cabaret singer in Las Vegas?
Her will. We need to find her.
I know your deputies, detectives are working around the clock. I mean, we see them, you know. How long can this go on for in terms of the investigation at this level?
Because of the media, really, and that's.
When is it going to escalate to federal? When are you going to hand over the reins?
It's a good thing, right? Because of the media, we've generated so many leads. I know last Wednesday we had 18,000 leads. The FBI had 14, so you're talking over 30,000.
You know that he's going to get that in, right? We had 18,000 leads. You know how many the FBI had? 14,000. We're better.
We're probably closer to 40 or 50,000. As long as those.
Now we got 50,000. They're still on 14. They got nothing. Waste of time.
Leads keep coming. We'll keep at it.
I know you've said you can't, for the investigative reasons, talk about what you found in the house. But is there a lot in the house that you're not able to say? I mean, is there a lot of evidence we don't know about in terms of this being a crime?
No, again, you're asking me something that I can't talk about. I will tell you this. We removed some biological evidence.
Biological weapons? She's not Saddam Hussein. We removed some biological weapons from the Guthrie residence. WMDs.
About what you found in the house. But is there a lot in the house that you're not able to say? I mean, is there a lot of evidence we don't know about in terms of this being a crime?
No, again, you're asking me something that I can't talk about. I will tell you this. We removed some biological evidence, prints, DNA, whatever. All of that was removed and sent to the lab. We removed physical evidence. Computers, phones, everything, anything we could. And that's submitted to another lab. That was given to the FBI. And why do we give it to the FBI? Because we know that they're very good at some of that stuff. And so we share with them that. Why did we give ours to our lab? Because it's what we've done for years, and our lab's always done well. In fact, we've used the FBI before. They're very good at solving things and doing things. But the FBI, not unlike our Department of Public Safety in Phoenix, they have a lab. They could have been used. But we look at it as this. If I use, for example, a state lab, DPS, or the federal lab, Quantico, you have to understand they have others using those labs too. And so it really puts a lot of strain on them to prioritize those cases and do what they can with them, where if I have my own lab or a contract lab, it allows.
Yeah, the FBI said to me, please, please give us the evidence. We can do a better job faster. We can get this done in an hour. And I said to them, no. I think it'll be too much strain on your department. So I gotta say no. It's going to Florida, and I'm saving you from yourself, FBI.
Gives me easier access to those cases that I think are important to us. And I'm not talking this case, I'm just talking cases in general. We could build a lab, but that's pretty expensive too. We just found that this lab we use is very good. Were they in Florida at the time? I have no idea. But I know that in today's world of technology, reports are generated and sent out in the flash of an eye. What we need to know is when we send something
In the flash of an eye. It's a blink of an eye. This happened in the flash of an eye. Eyes don't flash. Or maybe they do. She flashed her eyes at me. Did people say that? I think they might. But it doesn't make any sense. It happened in a flash, or it happened in the blink of an eye. Those are your only two options.
today's world of technology, reports are generated and sent out in the flash of an eye. What we need to know is when we send something to a lab, can we get it back to us quickly? Can we have a rush order, if you will? Well, sometimes I want this now, but the FBI may say, well, we understand that, but New York has a crime, LA has a crime, so it's about, it's not a...
Chicago has a crime. Cincinnati has a crime. Miami has a crime. Seattle has a crime. That's the problem with federal.
Against the labs. And so when this piece of evidence, we did what we normally do. We sent it to the lab, and we did that scene. Then we went and did another scene when we did a search warrant out in Rio Rico. So all of that was gone. Now we find a glove. The FBI says, oh, we can send it to Quantico. And I said, well, you know what? Let's keep it all in one place. Let's just send it all to our lab. No, it's not like, no, FBI's got a bad lab, or no, the Sheriff's Department uses DNL, they're a bad lab. No, it is about keeping your evidence together in one spot, and when that report comes out, it goes.
Well, what about the fact that the evidence can't be used to compare in the FBI CODIS database because they've got a rule that in order to do that, the DNA must be tested in the state in which it was found. Why that is, I don't know. I mean, TMZ, Mr. Flex told us about that at the beginning.
To both agencies. It just made sense. In fact, all of this conversation I had with you, when they said, oh, the sheriff blocked evidence, this conversation I had with the FBI lasted probably a minute and a half, and they said, makes sense, Sheriff, and it was done. There's no blocking evidence or just crazy.
Let me ask you. Okay, we've seen the photos from the surveillance camera in the front of the man. Do you think there could be a second suspect?
What was the real name of the Flash? And I would only know that from the movie Catch Me If You Can. Because one of the fake names that Leonardo DiCaprio is using, instead of Frank William Abagnale Jr., is the name of the Flash. So who was that? That's how Tom Hanks gets him. He's in the diner, drinking coffee, drinking black coffee, trying to find the investigation. And the waiter comes over and says, "Oh, are you a collector? Look, the Flash. I've got all of the first editions." Barry Allen. No, is it? Is it? Is that what it is? Real name of the Flash. Barry Allen. Well, congratulations. Who said that? Acapella. Boom. First prize.
You saw what I saw. We know he is a bad dude. He's who we want. Is there somebody else working with him? I don't know that. We'll know it when we find him.
The TMZ letters, I've lost count of how many they've received. TMZ, you know, they've been receiving these letters claiming that it's from someone involved.
So, yeah, the ransoms type things or those kinds of letters.
And I know FBI is investigating that part, right?
Correct.
But do you think they're legit? Because it seems like every day they're on TV with a new letter.
Again, you want to go to your experts, right? It would be irresponsible for me to give my opinion on something that we've given to the FBI to look into. That's their bailiwick. We'll let them handle that.
In the search warrants, we saw the one in Rio Rico, and then we saw the one close to, I think, 2 miles from Nancy's house on Friday night. Does that mean that you all believe the suspect could be close? Because it seems like the action we're seeing so far is right in the Tucson area.
So how those develop is this, and you may see it today. It may not be anything today. You may see 5 of them today. But what happens is this. We have 400 investigators out there from all agencies, not just in this valley, the 10 different law enforcement agencies, but some from Phoenix and FBI from across the country. And they're out there shaking down leads. 40-some thousand leads.
Look at his office, yeah. I mean, how long is it going to be before sheriff's office, even in Arizona, will be like, I don't know, the Google headquarters, where everybody sits in a beanbag and there's a thinking room or an ideas wall. What do they do? What do they do? And everyone's drinking a latte and has a festival wristband on their wrist. Sometimes even more than one.
Does that mean that you all believe the suspect could be close? Because it seems like the action we're seeing so far is right in the Tucson area.
So how those develop is this, and you may see it today. It may not be anything today. You may see 5 of them today. But what happens is this. We have 400 investigators out there from all agencies, not just in this valley, the 10 different law enforcement agencies, but some from Phoenix and FBI from across the country. And they're out there shaking down leads. 40-some thousand leads. Every morning they get up, and they're working 24/7. So they start with a little lead, and they're told, go check on this. And that lead develops, and as they move through it, it grows and grows like a snowball, just getting bigger and bigger, to a point where...
Like a snowball. I think the common phrase is, it snowballs. It grows and it gets bigger and bigger like a snowball. It snowballs. That's it. That's all it needs to be. He's weird. Fucking magic entertainer. Go back to working for children's birthday parties, you freak.
Across the country. And they're out there shaking down leads. 40-some thousand leads. Every morning they get up, and they're working 24/7. So they start with a little lead, and they're told, go check on this. And that lead develops, and as they move through it, it grows and grows like a snowball, just getting bigger and bigger, to a point where they go, you know what? I think we've developed a person of interest. I think we've got something here that maybe we need to go back and brief on.
Yeah. Well, could you speed it up a bit? It's like day 6, what was it? Day 16? It's the 18th here. It's taken on January 31st, and no one's seen Granny since. Mineshaft Granny.
So they come back in and they talk to the command post who's there? U.S. Attorney, County.
You know that special helicopter with the digital nose? The signal sniffer? Will it still be able to detect if Granny is 300 feet down a mine shaft? I mean, I can't get my cell phone to work from the kitchen, So I think if I was down a mine shaft, I'd have difficulties with the signal, especially if it was coming from my heart.
Attorneys, different law people behind different areas of law who sit back and discuss it and say, you know what, maybe there's enough here for a search warrant. Maybe we got to get petition for physical characteristics. Maybe that characteristic is a photo. Maybe it's buckle sales. Maybe it's fingerprint. Whatever it is. And we present it to a judge. And a judge says, yeah, I think here's enough. He signs it. That's how that snowballs. And everybody's energetic and they're so enthused. I wish you could see the face of the young men and women out there who are working these and all the energy, because it's what happens in investigations, particularly bigger investigations, where they're so excited, probably like you are. We've got a good lead, we're gonna, and then it falls through. It's not the person. Nancy's not at that house. But that's part of the ebbs and flows of an investigation. You're gonna have that as highs and lows. So for me, that's what's important.
Man, the way that the sheriff is talking to Brian Ensign at the moment, I mean, don't be surprised if he's found fucking dead, naked, with a pool cue jammed up his ass in his motel before he gets out of Pima County. Because this sheriff, he's like, yeah, maybe they are a little excited. You know, like you, kind of like you on your little show that you've been doing about me, huh? What about that show? Why are you interviewing those people? Don't interview those people. They're liars.
That I dispel some of the things that are out there so my team knows that, no. They're a solid team. This is a team who solves crime every day. They are my experts. I would be silly to not listen to them. When they tell me we spent 20 some hours at this.
There's no way that you can convince me that the sheriff is not glaring at him with a do not fuck with me anymore, man, kind of thing. You see that big fucking badge on the wall behind me? What does that say? It says Sheriff of Pima County. Yeah. I almost feel like Brian Ensign should have gone into this interview with an appropriate adult to safeguard his interests.
Scene. We process this scene. I'm taking their word that they're good. I don't need to hear from some pundit out there who's never done a crime scene. I don't need to hear from somebody who's never done a criminal investigation. I've got experts. That's who I choose to listen to. Just like the noise in the background. The critics who want to run for office. Go do that stuff. I just want to find Nancy.
Oh, do you think Rick Kastigar is going to run for office? Or the other guy? Maybe.
I want my team focused every morning. When they hit that low, that they know that they have someone who believes in them and their work. They're going to do it. I have 100% faith they will solve this case. If you're the guy, if you're that monster, you should be worried. You should let her go.
Oh,
you should let her go.
Fucking hell. Talk about a veiled threat. Listen, look at this. If you're that guy, if you're that monster, you should be worried. And he's pointing directly at Brian. And of course, it's appended with, if you took Nancy, so he's talking about someone else. But this is a message directly to Brian. This whole interview is a message directly to Brian. Look at that.
Hit that low, that they know that they have someone who believes in them and their work. They're going to do it. I have 100% faith they will solve this case. If you're the guy, if you're that monster, you should be worried.
If you're going to go on your little, video tour and interview all the people that want to run for office that are going to talk shit about me, and you're going to give that credibility? If you're that monster, you should be worried. I mean, that's fucking brutal.
Do it. I have 100% faith they will solve this case. If you're the guy, if you're that monster, you should be worried.
Anyone doubt what I'm saying? That that's a direct threat to Brian Ensign? And I don't even think he's doing it subconsciously. I think he knows what he's doing there. That point while he's saying that, and then the space that he leaves before he appends it with, that took Nancy. Direct threat. Brutal.
You should let her go. Just let her go.
Are you getting closer?
Oh, he doesn't say that took Nancy. He said, you should let her go. Just let it go. Let her go. Very easy to switch out her for it. You should just let it go. Just let it go.
I think we are. I think we are. But I have to have that belief, right? I have to have that faith. Every day, we'll keep at it. We ain't quitting.
Appreciate the sheriff for making the time to talk with me. Again, I know he's done a lot of media interviews, and I was glad that I was able to get one of them today.
Speak about the threat.
And that was on News Nation, of course. And hopefully I'll get more opportunities to talk to him in the future. Because like I told him, you know, there were some things that he didn't like about some of my reporting. And, you know, I always want to get both sides, so I'm happy to have him respond to what some people are saying about, you know, being critical of his sort of the way he's been handling the case. And, you know, I always like to get both sides, so hopefully I'll get more opportunities to interview him. I want to go back to what I was telling you guys about the DNA and the fact that the FBI says that there were no links in CODIS. What I found particularly interesting about that is that the FBI told us that. I mean, why would they give us a small update like that? Why would they need to tell the public and the media that there were no specific links in CODIS? I went to my...
Rush for Tacos says, God shit up. I'm so glad people like you are investigating just garbage takes. I'm not sure how to interpret that.
Friend, retired FBI agent Steve Moore, to talk to him about that and some of the other updates that came today in the case.
I know where you've been shitting, Brian. Does anyone know? This is his rental, right? I knew it was an SUV. What is that? It's a thinking Toyota. Or a Kia. Looks like a Kia driver to me. How's the Kia working out for you, Brian?
Case. I'm joined now by Steve Moore, retired FBI agent. It's nice to see you, Steve. It's always good to chat with you. First of all, I wanted to ask you, the sheriff is now saying that they put the DNA from the gloves that were found about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house into the CODIS system finally, and that there was no match, and that all of the DNA they put in so far, apparently there have been no matches. What do you make of that? Does that surprise you? I mean, because you know.
Hyundai, right? Yeah. Now I have to find out.
It seems like bad news.
Well, it doesn't, excuse me, it doesn't surprise me. It disappoints me a little bit, but CODIS, you know, is kind of a new thing, relatively. I mean, it's not like fingerprints that have been around for, you know, over 100 years. So what the problem is that every state, like when you get arrested, when a person gets arrested, you've seen it. It's standard. They fingerprint, they send it off. Everybody's got fingerprints in there. You get it for passports. Everybody's got fingerprints on file. Hardly anybody's got DNA on file. And right now, every arrestee in every 50 state or every one of the 50 states do not immediately get put in CODIS. And so, there are crimes in all of the 50 states for which you will get your DNA popped in the CODIS database. But
a lot of the people in CODIS are in jail as well currently. So it wasn't them.
Only on conviction for some of them, although Arizona, as soon as you're arrested for a felony, it's my understanding that they will get a DNA swab with your fingerprinting and send it to CODIS.
So these would just be people who have been arrested who are in this database?
Predominantly. I mean, DNA is not something that they use for any other purpose. Like fingerprints they use to identify you for passports or things like that, or even sometimes just a document and getting it certified. So DNA is only a criminal database at this point.
So you remember, Steve, that yesterday the sheriff put out this statement, vehemently denying that the Guthries had anything to do with they were cleared. He used the word cleared, the siblings and their spouses. So they put out another statement today where they talked about this CODIS development, but then they also included a section about the Guthrie family. And they said, in criminal investigations, evidence is examined to either build a case or clear individuals. At this point in the investigation, the Guthrie family, including siblings and spouses, has not been identified as suspects. What I thought was interesting is they're saying at this point in the investigation, where yesterday they were just more vague. What do you make in general of the sheriff, clearly saying that they've been cleared? Is that unusual?
Yeah, it's very unusual, and probably had to do a lot with social media, where people are actually going out there and naming names and doing stuff like that. What's interesting to me is he said they were cleared, and then they had to walk that back a little bit and say they're not suspects at this time. When you say somebody is cleared, first of all, you have to know a lot about the crime. It's kind of like, say if you had a crime and you didn't know the actual time of the crime, then anybody's alibi is useless to you. So you can't say, they're cleared by their alibi. In the same way with this case, even though we know time, we don't know a lot more case, at least the public doesn't. So I couldn't understand how they had enough information to clear them. Now, if you tell me that right now they're not suspects, that I can understand. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But that doesn't mean technically that they couldn't be down the road. I think what the sheriff is saying is that he doesn't believe they had anything to do with this, and that's as close as he can come to clearing them functionally.
And I want to go back. There's something else I thought of with CODIS that I wanted to ask you about that I was thinking of you earlier. Is it unusual that the FBI is giving these updates saying, oh, we tested it and it's not in CODIS? Like would they normally be giving us such a specific update? And then the thing it made me think of is, could it mean that they are closing in on someone and they don't want that person to realize that?
Yeah, that's a very, very good possibility. And yes, it is.
Oh, nothing in CODIS. Still clueless. So, yeah, get complacent. How to make a guy on the run become complacent. Act like you have no idea where he is. We've been totally fooled.
Highly unusual. Those are the kind of that's the kind of information that you, instead of sending to the public, you post up to your supervisor and say, giving him updates on the case daily. For the FBI to be doing this is extraordinary, in my opinion. And two potential reasons for this is, one, as we've discussed before, the sheriff has a bigger dog in this fight than the FBI does. This is his community. He has to live here. He has to get reelected here. And so he may have negotiated some kind of
Oh, I thought he was just concerned with finding Granny. That's what he says.
Agreement where the FBI or he could provide more information. But on the other hand, society has changed since I joined the FBI and since I retired. Things are rapidly moving into the point where everybody has, as I said on one of the other broadcasts, their own home version of the game, and they are all playing and they are all talking to each other about it. And the world now, in absence of information, will create reality. And so I think what the FBI is trying to do is keep the dust down a little bit on that. And I think what you're seeing here, and go back in 10 years, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a change, a sea change in law enforcement where you can't.
I think I found Brian Enton's car. What do you think about this? Is this a good match? And fuck AI. I did this myself because I'm a genius. Okay, there's a Chevy, what is it? Crossover, a small SUV or Equinox. A small SUV Chevy crossover. Which is, I can imagine Brian Enton going up to the rental desk and saying, do you have an SUV? Not too big. I want to be high up, but like not long. Where's the other image? We've got to cross compare. We got to go back to the beginning.
To tell the public.
Yeah, the tail light. It's definitely it. Need to hide the chat. Boom. So that's what he's driving around in out there. Let's see the whole thing. What is it? 2025 Chevy crossover. It's like the Arizona special. Wow. And plus they did all their marketing in Arizona. Oh no, look, they have a lake. That can't be Arizona. And grass, definitely not. But there is dust. It's even in that same boring color that everything in Arizona is. The color that you don't know if it's green or brown. And it doesn't really matter because either variation just fades into the other. It makes me sick. So that's what he's driving around in. Yeah, I'm going to be in Arizona for a while, so I need tires. And a winch. Do you have anything with a winch? A small one? Just a small winch. In case I need to do any towing in the desert.
Look in the media that there.
Will this thing break 110? I may need to speed towards the border if a story breaks.
Point where everybody has, as I said on one of the other broadcasts, their own home version of the game, and they are all playing and they are all talking to each other about it. And the world now, in absence of information, will create reality. And so I think what the FBI is trying to do is keep the dust down a little bit on that. And I think what you're seeing here, and go back in 10 years, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a change, a sea change in law enforcement, where you can't just ignore the public and do your job. Anymore because they're not patient enough to wait for it.
We confirmed yesterday, Steve, that the FBI was going to gun stores in Tucson with a list of 40 names and also 40 photos and asking employees to.
Oh, I was muted. Okay, no, I was just saying that, oh, there's the fucking car behind him, but we wouldn't have known that was definitely his. He was sitting in the trunk of the other one. But it does confirm that it is indeed, what is it called? An equinox. Yeah. Got the Arizona special.
Run the name, see if they had done any business there and if they recognized it.
And he had to have the jacket as well in the same horrible Arizona color. The cactus color, you know, the desert cactus color. I want a desert cactus car because I'm going to be in the desert. And I want to be prepared, like former Undersheriff Rick Kastigar told us. People go out into the desert, they're not prepared, they die. And not from rattlesnakes, just because from the weather. Just the weather will kill you, if the snakes don't get you first. So he thought, I'm not taking any chances. Rental company, give me something safe.
People. And the first thing I thought of was like, wow, 40 names. Does that mean that those are 40 people who they think could be involved?
Yeah. And then I thought, Jesus was tempted in the desert for 40 days. Maybe that's it. Maybe she's got to be tempted in the desert. Has anyone seen a burning bush?
Yeah. Well, it could be that 2 or 3 of them are stiffed in there and they know it's not those persons. You don't want to give somebody a set of photos and they can't help but pick somebody who is guilty of something. So occasionally you will put somebody in there in photos that is not involved. But
Hey, tone tech. You know, I'm not sure I'm liking all the caps. Could we not do that? It just seems a little bossy. You know, when you storm in and just caps. It's just kind of like, you know, I think you make others feel uncomfortable, like you're trying to make your voice louder than everybody else's, you know. I'm just not sure it's a good look. Could you not do that?
usually that's for photo IDs. It could be that there are 40. And it goes back to what I've been, the FBI has not been sitting around the phone saying, I can't wait for that tip to come in, pick up the phone every time it rings. No, the FBI is investigating this case with what they've got. And while the number 40 is a big number and kind of surprises me, I wouldn't have blinked at 10 to 20.
Does anybody know what Tone Tech is doing? I haven't seen one message that's clear. Is it an attack? Is this abuse? Am I being abused publicly?
So this tells me that there's a lot of work going on and that there are 40 people right now, potentially, who they have not been able to clear. that they have not been able to determine are not involved, and have some something about them or their actions that gives the FBI pause.
Anything I'm missing, Allison, that's new over the last day?
Yes, we haven't had them clear any of the suspects, any of the people that were detained. We just had them released. We also have them looking for a gun, so that's another lead. It looks like there's a lot more going on. I think you should say something about that because
Yeah, it was either a gun or pruning shears for the rose bush.
it's sounding like there isn't, but there is a lot more going on than I think that we even know. I mean, what you reported yesterday was totally new, but clearly that gun, they looked at the gun. They're probably looking for the holster too. Let Steve address like what leads we're looking at, so we have just sort of a list.
Yeah, I mean, what other leads do you think that they're looking at right now? I mean, we obviously know that they were going to the gun stores. I mean, do you think the backpack they're still trying to track down? Would it be the holster? Like, what else comes to mind for you?
Yeah, the holster, all the clothes he was wearing, and everything I've seen so far, every piece of clothing that's been identified has been something that's sold at Walmart. So I think right now, they're going to the gun stores with the information that they have on the gun that they believe he was carrying. And at the same time, I'd be surprised if there wasn't 10 agents in Bentonville, Arkansas, with their own little office, going through all the digital sales records of Walmart to find one time where 3 or 4 of these, the backpack, the holster, the coat, were purchased all at once. And once they find that, it's going to move fast.
And the sheriff said today clearly that the federal search warrant from Friday night, those people were detained. There were no arrests. They've all been released. But he said the investigation is ongoing. What do you think is happening behind the scenes still in relation to that?
They haven't told us why they hit that place, but the fact that they hit it with an evidence response team.
Yeah, no, it's been shown that all of the items that are identifiable, you can buy them at Walmart. So all we need to do is send the FBI into Walmart and say, hey, Walmart, have you had anyone come in here and buy a load of cheap shit? And they'll go, yeah. We'll pull up 50,000 schmucks on this video camera, and you can go through them at Quantico. Make sure you get it to Quantico. Yeah, what was the other thing? You know how it's been now ruled out that Nancy Guthrie hit her head and wandered into the desert in a fugue state? Well, what if? There's a lot of elderly people in the area. What if another one of her neighbors, someone close to the family, hit their head and they went into a fugue state, and instead of just walking into the desert, believed that they had to rescue Nancy and take her with them?
Means to me that it was that they believed that location was involved in the crime. Whether or not it is or is not, they have not discussed, but they are not saying that it's not, which is significant. When you go to somebody's house and people know the address, and people online are making posting people's names and stuff like that, it would behoove the FBI to say this was not involved in the crime. We have determined that. They haven't said that, which leads me to believe that there was something that they were searching for, and they either found it or they are not convinced that it's not going to be there.
There's also a Range Rover that they towed away, which I guess they're still processing at this point.
Yeah, and if they're still processing that 3 or 4 days later, it's either they're processing the heck out of that thing, and
I don't think that anyone's looking for a cartel member. Why would they do that? I mean, it'd be hard to find a cartel member stupid enough to fucking waste their time kidnapping the old lady of a Savannah Guthrie, the jewel of America. I mean, why would you do that? They already make lots of money. $6 million? Okay.
tearing it apart, or they found what they wanted and they're not going to release that back to the people who owned it. I think the fact that they still have that is significant, and if they don't let it go in the next few days, I think we can assume that that's now evidence. And if they know a car, they've got just about everything. I would say that with all the evidence coming together, I think we're getting so close. I thought the glove itself was kind of a Hail Mary, and I don't think that's I'm not surprised that hasn't come through for them, but I don't think they're depending on that. I think if that was their number one piece of evidence, they wouldn't have talked about it publicly.
As always, I really appreciate Steve for making the time to talk to me. And I appreciate you guys for watching. It's kind of been a long day today. I had the interview scheduled with the sheriff, then they canceled, and I kind of was working on some other things, and then later in the day they said, oh no, you can actually do the interview with the sheriff, so I had to kind of rush back over here. But again, I'm glad I got that opportunity, and I'll be sure to stay on top of everything. I'm not sure what to plan for tomorrow. But yeah, if I seem a little out of it, it's because, again, I think today was just a day. But I will keep you guys posted. Again, I appreciate you guys for following along, for subscribing, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Oh, we wanted to show your car, Brian. Okay, should we leave it there? Is there any other news today? Any other gloves? Oven gloves? Driving gloves? Welding gloves? A falconer's mitt? A baseball mitt? What other gloves could there be? What about ones with no fingers? Or mittens? We've found a pair of Could they be murder mittens? Could they be kidnapping mittens? Are they the kind that are attached with a cord that goes through one of your arm sleeves and out the other? So you can not lose them. You can take them off your hands and they just hang there conveniently. Genius. I mean, where is the guy that invented that? Where's his commercial? Imagine if he'd have invented that after Amazon had become a thing. He'd have become a millionaire. Well, is there any other... have there been any other kidnappings in Arizona since this one? That's another thing, because someone was saying that there's like 180,000 kidnappings per day or something, We said welding gloves, wood pit. I feel like maybe you need some gloves for the wood pit as well, if if you're handling warm logs. What else could we do? What about this guy? Well, that's old. See if there's any breaking media. It could be breaking media. Everybody loves breaking media. Nancy Guthrie. Breaking news. Key evidence. We've seen that one. We've seen that one. We've seen that one. Could it be that we've shown all? I mean, is this going to die out now? How long can it go? I mean, even when there's a fucking tsunami, and 250,000 people are just, you know, hit with a wave. There's a limit, isn't there? There's a point where the news networks go, okay, we've done this too much, and we need to go back to whatever George Clooney's up to these days. Give me a story on George Clooney. Now, yesterday. What about that, what's his name? Derek Van Shank, is it? What's his name? Up in Colorado. He's got a new style. I haven't seen him in a while, and he's changed his product. See if he's in the history. What has he got to tell us about the Guthrie incident? Well, where is he? Well, it can't be that far back. Maybe we should just search his name. His fantastic name. What is it? Derek Van Shake. So what is he going to tell us? And why? What's with the new style? I guess the idea is that he's got like, what do you call it? Rorschach tests on the wall, and the DSM-5 behind him, and he's, you know, check it out.
Why can't the FBI and local police catch the total idiot who abducted 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie well over 2 weeks ago? We're going to use forensic psychology to break down all the reasons why the most sophisticated law enforcement agency on the planet can't catch a guy who holstered a firearm like this and was attempting to balance flowers on a doorbell camera to get away with kidnapping. Now, let's get started.
It's been
discarded hand puppets. Okay. Fuck, that'd be the thing, wouldn't it? That'd be the meme. I feel like I need a costume department. I need a balaclava, a backpack, hand puppets, and a doorbell ring camera. A door ring bell nest camera.
Been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe.
I don't have any reason to believe she's not alive.
Although it's often said that all these types of cases take a long time to solve. Yeah, that's true. It can. But here's the problem. You have a missing person who was abducted from their home that is possibly still alive. And also given the fact that Nancy Guthrie is sadly in poor health. So given the fact that they're saying that she could still be alive, increases the urgency of solving this case. This is not like when police were trying to find who committed the Idaho 4 murders. Yes, it was always a possibility that the murderer, who eventually turned out to be Brian Kohberger, would strike again. However, there was no one kidnapped that could still be alive. So it makes finding the perpetrator extra important, and also to consider that the perpetrator may strike again. And given what we know now about the perpetrator after watching the doorbell camera, we found out for sure that this guy was not a professional and not sophisticated at all. Carrying his weapon like that in that type of holster, and when he was startled to see that he was being filmed on a doorbell camera, his chosen method to disable the doorbell camera was to pick flowers from Nancy's landscaping bed and then try balancing them on the doorbell camera, hoping that it would distort the lens. This guy is so unsophisticated, yet they still can't find him. Here are the reasons why, and if you come up with anything else, you can put that comment.
Because he's in Mexico, and he was in Mexico before they even saw she was missing. I mean, is anyone looking in Mexico? Because I'd start there. I'd want to see all the border cameras for the 24 hours after she was last seen. Start there.
Below.
Give my team some time, because these things do take time and they are difficult.
Law enforcement is not holding nearly enough press conferences. But why do you think it's important to hold these press conferences? First, to dispel any rumors that are coming about on social media that are gaining traction, that are going to divert the public's attention away from what the public should be focusing on to help find Nancy Guthrie. If the public has bad information or information that is not up to date, they're going to be less able to help law enforcement solve this case. Second, and related, is to tell the media and then the public what the facts of the case are here. This is so the public can be much more helpful in helping to find Nancy. If you can crowdsource and use millions of minds, millions of eyeballs, and millions of thoughts focused on this case, then you're more likely to solve the case, as opposed to relying on just maybe 100. So that should be the goal of the press conference, is to get the public to be focused on what law enforcement believes they need to be focused on. Number 3 is to keep the media and public interest high. If the media starts wandering off to the Olympics or what's going on Capitol Hill and other things, less people are involved, and it's less likely that you're going to find who you're looking for. And all of this becomes even more important because Nancy could technically be alive. The sheriff and law enforcement hasn't done a press conference with the media in nearly 2 weeks.
Right now, I have no plans to schedule any further press conferences unless we have some real evidence or something to bring up to you.
After the doorbell camera footage was released, you would think they would do a press conference there because they said they would only do a press conference once they have information. Why not do a press conference after the doorbell camera footage was released? It makes sense, but they didn't. It seems like the sheriff who's leading this case doesn't want to do a press conference because he either doesn't like them or maybe just doesn't like the scrutiny.
Please give us some space, and that's not just physical space. Give us some space, give my team some time.
There's so many missing persons cases out there that those families would love this type of media attention. Yet the sheriff is just shooing them away. And yes, law enforcement is getting tens of thousands of tips because it is a high-profile case, so it takes more time to investigate each tip. However, they also have the full force of the FBI to work on this case. So with their resources, many of those tips can be quickly discredited. It's still very shocking that with the full force of the US government, we still can't find this idiot.
DNA was found inside of Nancy Guthrie's home, and investigators believe that DNA is not Nancy's, and it's not any of her family members either, and it's not a contractor. So whose is it? That's what they're trying to figure out tonight.
Although he was covered from head to toe, he had that Vitalite in his mouth, so he was surely drooling or had some kind of saliva in the home, even from possibly adjusting.
Why are people saying that he wasn't aware of the camera? What's he doing there? Looking at the ground?
Or taking the Vitalite out at one point and maybe touching something in the home. However, the crime scene was not sealed off, and when it was eventually kind of sealed...
What if he just swallowed it? They keep going on, he must have taken that out of his mouth. Well, you can carry a fucking razor blade in your mouth if you know how to do it and still talk.
Off, they were quite sloppy with it. For example, early on in this investigation, they had no idea where Nancy Guthrie was. They investigated the crime scene for maybe a day or two, and then they...
Look at this palace that she lives in, huh? The main courtyard. Could you take that to the main courtyard? And those other crates, take those down to the wine cellar, please. Thank you.
Handed the crime scene back to the family. And at that point, the news media was basically able to walk right up to the front door of Nancy Guthrie's house.
This was taken... Yeah, the media walked up and counted the rose petals. I think it's so fucking funny that the key thing in this photo, evidence-wise, is not the blood. It's the rose bush.
by Fox Digital. On day 3 of this, they had access to go all the way up to the front of that house and get the blood trail.
And local police still released the crime scene. They had no idea where she was. They knew something nefarious had happened because there was that blood trail, yet they'd still decided to release the crime scene back. And at that point, the media would come up to the front of the house, and who knows would be inside the house when investigators released back the house to the family. Not to mention any possible disturbance of DNA due to even just touching the surfaces and taking that maybe possible perpetrator's DNA with you and it's not on the surface anymore, or possibly cleaning surfaces because they're thinking that, okay, you know, investigators did their thing and now it's ours and we want to make sure the house is nice when Nancy gets back. That's the crime scene. That's where all of the known evidence is going to be found to help find Nancy and the perpetrator. And then, of course, a few days later, when the FBI gets involved, they take the crime scene back from the family and say, well, just kidding, we're going to do more investigation. And more investigation? You gave it back. The family did all your investigation. So therefore, the crime scene is completely disturbed. And you can only imagine when they do finally arrest the perpetrator in this and they charge him with the crime, what their defense attorney is going to do about how this case was conducted. Specifically, this crime scene and how it was not sealed off initially. Even now, when the crime scene is still technically sealed off and cops are on the lookout for anyone who are trying to trespass onto the crime scene, you have a dog that peed on the crime scene.
This is the neighbor. There she is. Her dog took a pee on the...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Acapella. Here's the Rorschach tests on the wall. I think he's trying to... And the DSM-5 is also behind him. And he's wearing a turtleneck sweater with a suit. Or is that... Maybe that's another video. I'm surprised he's not holding a pipe that blows bubbles instead of smoke.
Crime scene.
Then you also have a pizza delivery guy who randomly strolls up.
Oh, this is the black on black waistcoat tie shirt combo, which with the sort of faux candles behind him makes it feel a little like a Dracula play. And what's with that selection of easy, medium, expert Rubik's Cubes over there? Is that, you know, did you get that on Amazon? Is it just an ornament? Do they work?
Up to the front of Nancy Guthrie's house, to the front door, and knocks on the front door to...
In fact, maybe this is a green screen. Is it? Has he just typed in, give me I'm an influencer, but with psychology, and I want to appear learned. Okay. Yeah, I like the Rorschach thing, the display. Yeah. Selection of Rubik's Cubes and about 3 books of reference materials.
Deliver a pizza.
Someone ordered a pizza out here. And the pizza delivery person showed up and was able to walk.
Have you seen this? Talk about just wanting to be on TV. They say to him, do you know where you are? He says, I don't know where I am. The guy with the pizza is classic. Talk about your 15 seconds.
Walk the pizza all the way up to the front door, even with the deputies sitting out here. I don't know why the deputies apparently didn't notice that person.
Trying to figure out who it's for.
What's it? Oh, it's one of these guys. Okay, man. Okay, because you know where you're at. You know where you're at.
No, I don't.
Look at the camera.
Really? What, nothing tipped you off? No one said, hey, that's the Guthrie house. Good luck at the Guthrie house. See if you can get on TV. Yeah, I know you know it's for one of the reporters, but try and take it to the door. Just say you got confused and you don't know where you are.
No one stopped him, even though law enforcement was specifically tasked with preventing...
With all those cops out there, I'm amazed they didn't drug test him. I mean, he's obviously come in a vehicle.
Anyone from going up onto the crime scene. The pool cleaning crew came along, and now the pool got cleaned.
They're servicing the pool. at a crime scene while a woman's been missing for almost 2 weeks. The Guthrie family said they wanted it cleaned. Have you ever heard of this before?
I have, and it's perplexing in that we don't have a very solid control because it is ongoing. And I mean, especially if you're capturing DNA internally and you still have activity there, I mean, at a minimum, you're going to have the perimeter secured. Everybody's going to be challenged even before they even get close. So yeah, this is perplexing. I've never heard of this before.
Where if they find out there's something in the pool or there's some evidence they didn't really think of that's in the pool that they need to go and look for and go search more deeply for, no, they can't do that anymore because that all got cleaned. It all got sucked out and killed with chlorine.
We see that blue sweatshirt or something that's been laid out that they've identified. Why was that not even taken? That's so confusing to me.
Nobody
Any
knows where
type
that
of
came from.
clothing needs to be taken. Yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, this is like police 101.
Looks sloppy.
And all of this public sloppiness of the crime scene, that's just what we publicly know. There could be a lot more sloppiness behind the scenes.
Yeah, the family are like, no. We'll lay low, and what we'll do is we'll keep sending in workers bit by bit. We'll keep the investigation in loops, in circles, or loops, or spirals. We'll put the investigation in spirals with pizza delivery men going to the front door and pool cleaners. Wait for the roof treatment guy. God, I'm amazed he hasn't shown up. If it were me, I'd have shown up and said, scheduled sealant test. Yeah. We do it every month. Has to be today. Well, the helicopter's up there. Has to be today. And I agreed with Nancy before she disappeared that I would put a stencil of my phone number so that it can be seen from the air on the roof.
The point is that that's a microcosm of how this case is likely handled. If you handle the crime scene, the most important piece of evidence you will ever have in this case, as sloppy, you're going to handle the entire case as sloppy. It really seems like it's just a bunch of rookies that are investigating this case.
Delayed FBI assistance, crime scene released quickly, missed the roof camera, delayed thermal imaging plane, no grid search, unaware of the Guthrie family video when it was released, blocked the FBI from certain evidence, no clear leader in the investigation. The sheriff has had to make backtracking statements. How do we look at this as just normal folks and say it's anything other than the sheriff really profoundly messing things up?
The sheriff seems prideful and doesn't want to give up as the lead investigator to the FBI in this case. However, as we're discussing here, he's making a lot of major errors and also seems more interested in attending college basketball games.
Under scrutiny after being spotted at a
Look at him there. Lazy Sheriff Nanos, slacking off to go to the basketball game. And people are like, oh, well, people need downtime. Oh, you expect him not to eat? I expect him to eat at work or in his car until Granny is brought home. Fucking hell. If it were me, even basic detectives get like, don't go home for 3 days. I think we see that a lot. Basketball game.
college basketball game last night, nearly a week into the search for the 84-year-old mother and grandmother. You can see him here.
It's Oklahoma State. I never miss those.
Here near the front row of the matchup between the University of Arizona and Oklahoma State.
I think we all understand that people have to have a personal life a little bit. However, this was...
I don't. It's a job. You going to tell that to people on the front line? It's a job, it's a commitment. Yeah, you're going to tell that to the firefighter. Yeah, no, I've been trying to put this fire out for 8 hours now, and it's still ablaze. But it's Oklahoma State tonight, so yeah, gotta go.
just about a week after Nancy went missing. And at this point, it was very possible that Nancy was still alive. And early on in the investigation like this is when you're going to have the best chance in finding Nancy and possibly the perpetrator. So therefore, early on in the investigation, it's absolutely critical to spend as much time on the case as possible, because that's the chance you're going to find her and possibly bring the perpetrator to justice. But why doesn't the sheriff?
I agree with you, Robert. Beam. He knew about the doorbell but didn't know. He knew about the doorbell because he saw it. Well, yeah, but could you find a house that doesn't have one in that area, in that wealthy area, in that remote wealthy area? I mean, that's their perfect market. That's where they sell the most.
Sheriff want to hand over this case to the FBI for the FBI to lead. There's surely pride involved, and also he wants to feel like the hero where he solved the case. Additionally, he is an elected official. Therefore, if the sheriff hands over this case to the FBI, what does that suggest? It substantiates those rumors where the public is going to feel like the sheriff, in fact, didn't do a good job investigating this case, thereby reducing the chances that he will get reelected by the public.
They are asking for money, a lot. They are asking for it in the form of Bitcoin, and they are putting an or else on this.
Right. TMZ and other...
Well, hey, Mr. Flex from TMZ, maybe write back to them and say, you can't pay any ransom, but you will give them 8 personal one-on-one sessions as a personal trainer.
News outlets keep...
and show them how to flex.
Getting these anonymous letters from supposedly someone who knows the kidnappers.
Look, his colleague there, he's 2 weeks in. You already see a difference.
Someone who is supposedly the kidnapper that are distracting the case. If they were actually legitimate from the kidnapper, wouldn't they show proof of life?
I have your son.
Oh, Jesus.
I want $2 million.
That's the number one thing kidnappers do, is showing proof of life so the family pays. However, these supposed kidnappers never once show proof of life. Therefore, if this actually was a kidnap ransom, sadly, Nancy passed away before they can actually show proof of life. They're doing these big SWAT raids that basically turn out to be nothing, at least so far, and it seems like they're just grasping at straws where anyone who
Why isn't there a big nose on that SWAT truck on the top to sniff the signal of the old lady's heart?
was even in the area in that time frame of when Nancy Guthrie had sadly been abducted. And
I mean, anytime they bring a SWAT truck out like that, there should be a big nose on it. Am I wrong?
Any male in the area who's average build, average height, thin eye...
Is that Brian Ensign parking up there? Is that a fucking Chevy Equinox again? I think it might be. Can we zoom in? Where's our test image? He's everywhere, isn't he? No wonder the sheriff's pissed off. Yeah, well... could be. Yeah, could be. Maybe.
Brows and a mustache, they're going after them.
He says it was his car being searched by authorities Tuesday night, his home too.
I broke the doors. What else, man? The garage door in the back?
Saying he was held against his will and said officers took 2 hours to tell him why he was being arrested.
After talking, the sheriff feels satisfied with his alibi. Poor Carlos.
Now the whole gloves thing is big in the media, where they actually found about 16 pairs of gloves. In psychology, this is called the frequency illusion, where if you start thinking of something, you start seeing more of it. For example, when you buy a different car, you all of a sudden notice more people on the road driving that car. It's not that all of a sudden that car has become more numerous on the road. It's that you start noticing more of that car because it's more on your mind because you now drive that car. It's the same thing here with gloves. gloves. When they watch that footage of the perpetrator with very distinct gloves trying to block the doorbell camera, and you get to see those gloves very carefully, and when the news media reports that there's gloves found on the side of the road, more people are going to have that on their mind, going to start noticing that there's gloves on the side of the road.
A glove a few days ago was found within about 2 miles of the house. Somebody found it.
And yesterday we found a pair of mittens. One mitten.
Called us.
If he had just listened to the FBI and sent it to Quantico to be analyzed, they could have entered it into the database immediately.
Yeah, you probably want to go a little deeper, maybe off the side of the road, because that could be where Nancy Guthrie is sadly buried if sadly she did pass.
My mom, Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah. I'll take her out of the house and bury her on her, just off her own street. Yeah, I'll pull over in the middle of in a place which would be unusual to pull over. There's no reason to stop unless you're at someone's house, right? So I'll do that, and then I'll bury her in the desert right there.
And she is here to share one of her famous dinners. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
You ready to cook?
I'm ready.
This is something I really
God, we're bringing it full circle now.
remember you making all during our growing up.
Oh, yes, but it was on a special occasion.
Because it takes time.
Overcooked, what are they called? Kentucky Wonders. I don't know about the Kentucky Wonders. The beans, to me, they look like they've cooked for about 8 hours, right? Just mush now. Only mush. I still don't know why they put the fucking garnish of flat leaf parsley under the chicken. It needs something else, okay? It just does.
Oh, it takes all day.
There's famous people involved, and they don't know how to manage the massive media attention. Where it's critical in these types of cases, where they receive massive media attention, to direct the public's attention appropriately. Law enforcement leadership is never really trained on how to handle these types of situations, because most of law...
Robert says Nancy is the all-American mom, grandmother, granny to us all. Nancy is the all-American mom with a famous daughter. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that she wasn't kidnapped for her cooking.
Enforcement go their entire careers without even getting an ounce of this type of media attention to a case.
Oh look, he's got a second row of these things up on top. I thought he only had the one row, but no. I mean, I wouldn't want that on my wall. It's, I don't know.
Most of the time, violent crimes are just in the local paper and on the local...
So he's got at least 10 that we know about. I mean, there could be another row and making it 15. Too much.
News. Although it was, of course, helpful to get this doorbell camera footage, it really took too long, giving the perpetrator time to escape and possibly even cover his tracks.
The dark sky protocol requires most outdoor lighting face downward and not exceed a certain brightness.
The dark sky ordinance improvements. How do you say that? Deschutes. County.
In an effort to reduce light pollution.
There's dark sky laws in Pima County, which is nice because you can look up and see the sky and stars and everything above us.
Yeah. But it's really bad for getting kidnapped. It's really good if you want to get kidnapped under a starry night.
However, it also makes these types of cases more difficult to solve. This is because when lights are restricted at night, it makes it more difficult for cameras to pick up details in their footage. Front license plates are not required in Arizona.
Oh wow, so it's like a camera dead zone on top of that because of the no light policy.
Therefore making it more difficult to spot a vehicle on camera. Although Tucson, Arizona is a good-sized city where Nancy Guthrie lives, is somewhat rural, where the houses are set farther back, making it more difficult for neighbors' doorbell cameras to spot what's going on the street. There was a small reward for about the first 4 days, and it was only $5,000. Then they bumped it up to $50,000, and now they're bumping it up to $100,000. Sometimes law enforcement fears that if they put a big reward out, it's going to cause a lot more unsubstantiated tips to come in that they need to then go through. However, do you know what a big reward does? Yes, it gets people close to the suspect starting to turn in the suspect. The whole idea is that someone personally knows this kidnapper. They're watching the news and they're like, that's him. But they're not saying anything because they have some loyalty and some allegiance to him. Therefore, what law enforcement needs to do,
Yeah, you got 100 grand's worth of loyalty.
is break that loyalty with money. A large reward gets loyal people to turn on the suspect. It's not just to get some random tip. It's to get people close to the suspect to turn on the suspect.
All the mistakes and the criminal stuff and the courtroom stuff, those can be hammered later.
Nobody's cleared.
Nobody's cleared. Okay.
Probably have closer to 40,000 or 50,000 leads. We also knew that.
Even when he's making a kind of inappropriate, non-believable defense of his own cause, this sheriff fucks it up. When he says all of the mistakes and the courts and the criminal charges, that can be handled later. He didn't need to say mistakes. Accusations. He can't even do his own damage control.
Gets loyal people to turn.
He's just plagued by insecurities, isn't he? He's like Ringo. He's the Ringo of Pima County.
Turn on the suspect. It's not just to get some random tip. It's to get people close to the suspect to turn on the suspect.
All the mistakes and the criminal stuff and the courtroom stuff, those can be hammered later.
Nobody's cleared.
Nobody's cleared. Okay.
Probably have closer to 40,000 or 50,000 leads. We also knew that we had some hard evidence. First of all, there's no glove found at that house, no glove found near that property. We're done with press conferences. We got a lot of work to do.
It appears the sheriff psychologically feels more comfortable doing small
We had hard evidence. The FBI, they only had soft evidence. We also got spiky evidence because we're local and we know how to handle cacti. We got some wriggly evidence, snakes, also local.
Individual media interviews to small media outlets instead of one big media press conference to the entire nation. However, that's what's really going to bring Nancy home in finding the perpetrator, is getting everybody focused on this case as much as possible with the best information as possible. I think this is a wake-up call for all of us, that we can't completely rely on police to always protect us and always easily solve the case. Because if they can't solve this case with the entire nation focused on this, with the entire force of the entire federal government focused on this case, we need to focus, I think, on preventative measures. Whether that's a security system, a dog, whatever you feel like you need to stay safe, as long as it's legal, I think we need to focus on keeping ourselves safe. We can't solely rely on law enforcement to solve cases quickly. As of now, what it appears happened to Nancy Guthrie is that she was kidnapped violently from her home. Also, given the fact that she had major health issues with her heart, it's becoming more and more likely that she has sadly passed. However, we do not know that for sure, so it's important that we still look for Nancy.
The sheriff clearing, and I'll read this, the Guthrie family.
And even then, I mean, we've got to bring the body back, bring Granny's body back.
Family, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, have been cleared as possible suspects.
See, that guy's almost in camouflage. Look, he could stand in front of that bush and be completely disappeared. Invisible man.
In this case, the family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious, and our victims in this case to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel.
My thoughts and prayers are still with Nancy Guthrie and the Guthrie family during this difficult time. Now in the comments, what do you think is the biggest reason for why they still have not found Nancy Guthrie or the perpetrator?
Put it in my comments. What is the biggest reason why, what was it? They have not found Granny. And where is she? Mexico, I think. Tijuana. Doing shots of cheap tequila and drinking Coronas with little lime wedges stuffed into the top, right into the neck of the bottle. Ceviche. I'm probably having a great time. Buying trinkets, getting cheap dental work, and all sorts of fun. No, she's probably succumbed to her injury and not been able to keep well, unless they've got her down south of the border and have got her into a good place. Maybe. We need to storm Mexico. That's the next move here. Just not stop until she's brought home. Bring Granny home. Okay, we're going to be putting up a thumbnail this morning because tomorrow we need to start the show at fucking 9 o'clock. I've got to set that habit. I'm going to have to get somebody to give me a call. But I'm hoping that it's not going to be on the Nancy Guthrie case. It's going to be a different case. Maybe we shouldn't do that. I don't know. Do people want to see another case? I was going to do another case. Anyway, follow us on Twitter. Support the channel on buymeacoffee.com. And yeah, definitely follow us on Twitter because let's build that platform. That's the best platform. Everybody knows that. Or is it? I don't know. People keep raving about it. Seems okay. But come there and follow us. X.com/. It's just True Crime Metrix on Twitter. Follow us. Leave a like on the video. Please do leave a like on the video. That is a really good thing to do. And subscribe, share, leave a comment. And join us again on True Crime Metrix. Hopefully when we find Granny. But if not, maybe we'll do another case. But the numbers are okay. What is that? We need to get those likes. Please leave a like on the video. Because you get high numbers with Guthrie. But people dip in and out. They dip in and out and then they forget. They forget to leave a like on the video and then they just walk away. Walk away without so much as a thank you or a fistful of pistachios. Anyway, good night. Have a safe drive home. Be kind to each other. Don't steal grandmothers. And don't be an Adelson. Also, Wendy, where is she? Where is she? Has she made her escape while everyone's looking for Granny?
Even though...
Perhaps. Find out tomorrow on True Crime Metrix. Good night. Adios.